Chapter 794. In the depths of the Scorpion Man's territory, the battle between the youth and the Scorpion Man King was intense. The Scorpion King activated its bloodline's secret skill, and a huge, dark scorpion shadow appeared behind it. Every time it attacked, the huge scorpion shadow behind it would emit a majestic and mysterious ancient bloodline power. Its power was earth-shattering. This was because they were in the divine illusion dimension, and their power was greatly suppressed. If this was in the outside world, the Scorpion Man King would be able to destroy some small island zones. Schwa, the youth in black, used a spatial technique and left behind streaks of silver light as he advanced and retreated. Mystic spatial rend. Suddenly, a silver streak of light shot out like a spatial crack, and it gave off a forbidden spatial aura as it slashed at the Scorpion Man King's side. Crack! The Scorpion Man King's scorpion armor could ignore attacks from kings of the same rank, and blood started to flow. Human bastard, die! The Scorpion Man King started to counterattack, and its pincers and tail danced in the air, creating a dark silver whirlwind that instantly covered everything within 100 yards. Wong, on the surface of the black-clothed youth's body, a layer of dark silver light appeared, like the ripples on the surface of space. The Scorpion Man King's powerful attacks seemed to enter a spatial whirlpool when they landed on him, and they were sucked away. However, under the Scorpion Man King's enraged attack, the youth in black grunted and was pushed back dozens of yards, even though he had a spatial technique protecting him. This Scorpion Man King's battle power is close to a peak-tier king when it's enraged. That youth's life force is very young. How come I've never heard of him on the Imperial Genius rankings? Those from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and Purple Sun Palace started to discuss. Kong Failing from the 10,000 Sacred Clan was on the Imperial Genius rankings, but her ranking was close to 300. Although the youth in black couldn't fight against the Scorpion Man King head-on, he had the upper hand due to his spatial techniques. It's him. Zhao Feng stood still and looked at the arrogant youth in black with surprise. That's right. He didn't know this youth in black. They were from the same clan and had worked together before. On this day, when Zhao Feng saw him again, he felt inexplicably emotional. Friend, do you need our help? Kong Failing's eyes glittered. Even she, who had always been proud like a peacock, couldn't help but have a good impression of the dark-clothed young man's elegant bearing and strength. No need. The black-clothed youth had an indifferent expression as he used his unfathomable spatial movement technique to deal with the Scorpion Man King. As the battle dragged on, the Scorpion Man King's bloodline secret technique could no longer be used for long, and its injuries accumulated. In less than an hour, the Scorpion King was defeated. It turned into a cold shadow and dashed toward the gloomier and more evil areas of the underground city. The black-clothed youth didn't continue his pursuit. After a fierce battle and defeating the Scorpion Man King, he had expended a lot of energy. May I know your surname and which sect you come from? Old Fei, Kong Failing, and the others took the initiative to befriend him. If he could form an alliance with such a genius expert, it would be of great help to his future exploration. Nan Gongsheng, Mystic True Sacred Clan. The black-robed youth's expression remained cold as he scanned the two sides with his divine sense. The 10,000 Sacred Clan and Purple Sun Palace had a few half-step kings and many elites. He couldn't ignore them. Nan Gongsheng. Kong Failing had a faint smile as she murmured the name and memorized it. Nan Gongsheng wasn't a famous name in the Lord Dynasty. Mystic True Sacred Clan? No wonder. Old Fei was very knowledgeable. Whether it was the continent or the surrounding seas, three-star sects were as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. The Mystic True Sacred Clan was a three-star superpower that came from the Tsang Ocean. After defeating the Scorpion Man King, Nan Gongsheng's figure flashed as he entered the Scorpion Man King's palace and started to search for resources. The resources of the Scorpion Man King's palace belong to me. You can do whatever you want elsewhere. Nan Gongsheng left behind this sentence. Nan Gongsheng had defeated the Scorpion Man King by himself, so no one had the right to ask about the resources within the palace. As the strongest underground race in the vicinity, the Scorpion Men possessed a considerable amount of resources and treasures. Zhao Feng also joined in the search for treasures. He had enslaved the female Scorpion Man, so he knew where the Scorpion Man's territory was and where some treasures were hidden. According to Zhao Feng's soul search, the female Scorpion Man was the queen of the previous Scorpion Man king. Apart from the Scorpion Man king, the female Scorpion Man had the highest status and strength. Whoosh! Zhao Feng left behind ripples of water, of wind, lightning as he moved, giving off a feeling of lightness and elegance. Soon, Zhao Feng entered an underground treasure room. There were 4 Scorpion Man experts guarding the treasure room. Zhao Feng sent out the female Scorpion Man queen to chase them away. Soon, all kinds of flowers and grasses were displayed in the treasure room, and they released multicolored lights. These resources were all extraordinary. In the outside world, they would only appear once every 1,000 or even 10,000 years. A surge of heaven-earth yuan qi instantly leaked out and attracted the attention of a few people nearby. Come! Zhao Feng used his fastest speed to gather some resources that were useful to him or extremely valuable. Dark lightning wood. Zhao Feng soon found a rare lightning Dao resource. It was half a pitch-black piece of wood, and it had dark lightning engravings on it. This dark lightning wood grew in damp and dark environments, and it had a strong ability to absorb lightning. The dark lightning wood in front of him was a peak-grade item that had been around for at least several dozen thousand years, and it contained the pure essence of the Tao of lightning. Whoosh! Zhao Feng held this piece of wood and circulated the 5-elemental wind lightning technique, and he felt wisps of dark lightning merge into his body. 5-colored water, spirit grass, dark wind bamboo, dark dragon tooth grass. Zhao Feng's eyes sparkled. Of course, there were some treasures in the Scorpion Man King's palace that might be even more valuable. However, some of the resources in this treasure room were of great help to Zhao Feng's cultivation. Sung. At this moment, the elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan and Purple Sun Palace sensed the auras of the resources and quickly closed in. The auras of these resources were too strong, and even Zhao Feng wasn't able to completely seal them away. If he circulated his magnificent power, the commotion would be even bigger. Zhao Feng, you're pretty lucky. Old Fei led a group of people and quickly closed in. Quick, don't let the people from the 10,000 Sacred Clan take all the resources. The Purple Sun Palace wasn't much slower. However, they were attacked by 4 Scorpion Man warriors as soon as they got close. A battle soon broke out. With the combined strength of the 2 groups, it wasn't hard to take care of the 4 Scorpion Man warriors. However, Old Fei was slightly curious. Why was he able to enter the treasure room without being attacked by the Scorpion Man warriors? However, at this moment in time, the group didn't think too much and charged into the treasure room to obtain all sorts of rare plants and flowers. Most of the heavenly materials in the treasure room were stored in individual cultivation tools, and they were nurtured and protected by special formations. It took some time to break through the arrays and obtain the resources. When the group arrived, Zhao Feng had obtained 5 or 6 resources that were beneficial to him. The dark lightning wood, 5-layered water spirit grass, and dark wind bamboo helped Zhao Feng cultivate the wind lightning technique and accumulate true yuan. There was also a dark dragon sprout grass that was extremely rare and had a strong strengthening effect on one's physical body. This was the only body-strengthening resource that Zhao Feng had obtained that was rather useful. The people from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace started to split the resources after entering the treasure room. Because Zhao Feng had found this place first, the 10,000 Sacred Clan took 70%, and the Purple Sun Palace took the remaining 30%. The people from the Purple Sun Palace weren't greedy. In terms of strength, the Purple Sun Palace was slightly weaker than the Purple Sun Palace. Furthermore, when they were working together, they had a verbal agreement on how to split the resources. Not long after, the treasure room was completely taken by both sides. Zhao Feng, the resources you obtained seem to be the most valuable. Old Fei's eyes twinkled as he looked at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng understood what he meant and smiled faintly as he quickly listed out the resources he had obtained. Zhao Feng, you're very honest. Old Fei nodded his head in satisfaction. The resources that Zhao Feng had obtained were extremely tempting to half-step void god realms. According to the rules, the resources that Zhao Feng found in this group had to be split among them. Just think about it. How could he enter such a dangerous place by relying on his own strength? These are what I deserve. Zhao Feng's tone was very calm. Hearing that, Old Fei's expression was slightly unnatural, and he was unhappy in his heart. It was obvious that Zhao Feng had no intentions of handing over the resources and listening to the distribution. Oh well, you were the first to find this treasure room. Old Fei didn't want to fight amongst themselves. With his shrewd eyes, he could see that Zhao Feng was confident and that he had some secrets and trump cards. The 4 scorpion men nearby should be responsible for guarding the treasure room, but why didn't they attack Zhao Feng? On the other hand, the people from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace were blocked by the Scorpion Men. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had a mysterious emperor as his master, and Duke Nanfeng even gave him a favor. He was only in the middle echelon of the clan, so he obviously didn't want to offend Zhao Feng. I'll teach this brat a lesson when I have the chance. Old Fei decided. Shua. Zhao Feng's figure flashed as he flew toward another place near the Scorpion Men's palace. There's also a place to store the parts of rare beasts. Zhao Feng murmured. After enslaving the Scorpion Man, he knew more information than anyone else. However, when Zhao Feng arrived at a cellar, it had already been discovered by people from the 2 forces. Among them were Kong Failing from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the purple-robed youth from the Purple Sun Palace, the 2 head disciples. Zhao Feng wasn't the first to arrive. This cellar was extremely spacious, and it was filled with mountains of materials that had been sorted out and stored. Many of the materials needed to be stored and nurtured in harsh environments. Otherwise, the heaven-earth yuan qi contained in the materials would slowly disappear, or their characteristics would change. I don't need the other materials, but I must get the bones of the king-ranked purple wind lightning lion. Zhao Feng had a decisive expression. The bones of the purple wind lightning lion contained the pure power of wind lightning, and its element was compatible with Zhao Feng's wind lightning technique. Unfortunately, the crystal core of the king-ranked purple wind lightning lion was carried by the Scorpion Man. Back then, the Scorpion Man had paid a heavy price to kill the purple wind lightning lion, and it had relied on its venom. If not for that, the crystal core of the king-ranked contained the wind lightning yuan qi, and it would have allowed Zhao Feng's cultivation to increase rapidly in a short amount of time. Found it. Zhao Feng used his god spiritual eye to quickly find the purple crystal-like bones according to his memories. However, unfortunately, Brat stopped. A few people from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace also found the bones of the purple wind lightning lion. Chapter 795. These people had arrived earlier than Zhao Feng, and many of them knew their stuff. Although they didn't recognize the purple wind lightning lion's bones, that didn't stop them from estimating their value. The purple-robed youth from the Purple Sun Palace was one of the people who stopped him. He was the head disciple of the Purple Sun Palace, and his cultivation had reached the half-step king realm. However, he wasn't listed on the Great Gon Imperial Genius ranking. Everyone who sees it has a share. I need these bones. Zhao Feng asked directly. His attitude almost angered those from the Purple Sun Palace. The resources in this cellar were first discovered by a talented genius from the Purple Sun Palace. Zhao Feng had just arrived and didn't do much, but he wanted to take one of the most valuable materials. This made them both angry and amused. We haven't decided on how to split the resources here. The purple-robed youth's eyebrows furrowed. This youth's cultivation wasn't high, but his skin was really thick. What's going on? Zhao Feng's gaze couldn't help but look toward the head disciple of the Purple Sun Palace, Kong Failing. Kong Failing paused and had a weird expression. After asking, Zhao Feng finally understood that the 2 forces hadn't reached an agreement on how to split the resources. The Purple Sun Palace had discovered this place first and wanted to split the resources. However, the problem was that the 10,000 Sacred Clan had also arrived when the Purple Sun Palace had discovered it. The 10,000 Sacred Clan wanted a 50-50 split, while the Purple Sun Palace wanted at least 60%. That's simple. Let's rely on our own abilities. Zhao Feng said straightforwardly. The moment he said that, the people from the Purple Sun Palace became even angrier. Brat, even if we rely on our own abilities, you won't be able to obtain this precious lightning Dao bone. An elder from the Purple Sun Palace laughed, instead of getting angry. Fine, I'll back out for now. Zhao Feng shrugged. He then walked over to Kong, failing. No, the bones are gone. The eyes of a short and fat middle-aged man from the Purple Sun Palace widened. Everyone looked over. The few bones of the Purple Wind Thunder Lion had already disappeared. Shua, a dark silver, illusory line appeared in the cellar and flashed for a moment. It's a spatial escape technique. The purple-robed young man cried out in shock. His half-step divine sense spread out and permeated the void. However, after the dark silver line disappeared, there was no longer any sign of it. Junior, did you steal the wind and thunder skeleton? The people from the Purple Sun Palace glared at them. The purple-robed youth and the others were all suspicious of Zhao Feng. Slander. Which one of your eyes saw me steal a bone in public? Zhao Feng said disdainfully. Everyone's expression froze. Indeed, no one noticed any signs of Zhao Feng making a move. From the beginning to the end, Zhao Feng was locked down by both sides and did not have a chance to make a move. Moreover, who has the ability to steal something without a trace in front of two great half-step kings? Zhao Feng said confidently. The people from the Purple Sun Palace and the Myriad Saints Palace looked like they had seen a ghost. Logically speaking, Zhao Feng was unlikely to make a move. However, instinctively, they felt that this was definitely related to Zhao Feng. Then who do you think could have done it? The purple-robed youth asked. Zhao Feng started to think. From what I can see, there's only one person who has the ability, and it's not someone from our two sections. Hearing that, everyone's hearts shook. Nan Gongsheng. Kong failing, and the purple-robed youth exclaimed. In terms of ability, Nan Gongsheng was the most likely. It's very possible. Nan Gongsheng's spatial movement technique has reached the peak of perfection. Someone soon agreed. After all, there wasn't anyone else in the two sects who had the ability to do so. Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. Nan Gongsheng, I'm not trying to frame you. I'm just analyzing it logically. In the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng had worked together before, and Nan Gongsheng played a huge part in killing the Worm Youth. When Lan, Nan Gongsheng did indeed have the ability to do so. However, Nan Gongsheng was a prideful person. Although he would rob them, he wouldn't steal them. I didn't think that Nan Gongsheng would be such a thief. The purple-robed youth had an ugly expression. If Nan Gongsheng really was the one who did it, there was nothing they could do. Nan Gongsheng's spatial abilities weren't something the two sects could do anything about. Right at this moment, Shua, among the pile of materials, another top-notch material disappeared without a trace. It's the heart of a barbarian bull. That's the heart of an ancient barbarian bull that's close to the king level. It can strengthen one's organs and body. The cellar was in chaos. Finally, no one knew who made the first move, but the entire cellar was in chaos. Occasionally, the dark silver line would appear as well. Nan Gongsheng, you bastard. The people from the two sects couldn't help but curse as they fought over the materials. Although the person who made the first move didn't steal many materials, they definitely weren't the best ones. Who's cursing me? Right at this moment, a king divine sense swept over. Boom! The soul dimension trembled as a powerful, magnificent power of the void god realm surged over. Instantly, the bodies of the two groups that were fighting over the materials shook as they felt a suffocating pressure. Who's cursing me? A youth in black arrived with just a few steps. Nan Gongsheng. The expressions of the two groups in the cellar froze. This was especially so for those who had cursed Nan Gongsheng. They felt weak. At this moment, Nan Gongsheng had already taken all the resources in the Scorpion King's palace. There was still some left, but he didn't care about them. He was just about to leave when he suddenly heard someone cursing him. The senses of a void god realm king were extremely strong, and after his soul evolved, he had a sense that surpassed common sense. This is all a misunderstanding, the purple-robed young man hurriedly explained with a flattering smile. You can't blame us. Zhao Feng suspected that you were the culprit, so those from the Purple Sun Palace started to push the blame away. Everyone's target was Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng? Nan Gongsheng revealed a weird expression as he followed everyone's gazes toward a handsome youth. That's right. After my analysis, I suspected Nan Gongsheng. However, I only suspected him. I didn't scold him. Zhao Feng said fearlessly. In the beginning, he was just trying to make Nan Gongsheng the scapegoat. After all, the current Nan Gongsheng was strong enough. However, the person cursing him was from the Purple Sun Palace. Why did you suspect me? Nan Gongsheng's expression was grim as he stared at Zhao Feng. The youth in front of him had the same surname as the person he knew. That person's name shook the Tsang Ocean. Even the ancient emperor of death died at his hands. Nan Gongsheng couldn't even reach that person's height. However, after scanning with his divine sense, he could tell that the two weren't the same person. Firstly, their physical body techniques and auras were different. Secondly, Nan Gongsheng couldn't connect this weak youth to the left-eyed heavenly emperor of the Tsang Ocean. Brother Nan Gongsheng, it's like this. Zhao Feng was neither servile nor overbearing as he recounted what had happened. You're very honest. Your suspicions aren't wrong. Nan Gongsheng nodded his head faintly. It was hard to find another person from the Purple Sun Palace and 10,000 Sacred Clan who could steal something from 2 half-step Void God realms. Even Nan Gongsheng would have to use his full strength to do so. As for you bastards, Nan Gongsheng's cold eyes scanned over the purple-robed youth and company. Boom! A weird, magnificent power of space crushed over. Wah! The purple-robed youth and company all spat out a mouthful of blood and were injured to a certain degree. They couldn't fight back against a king that specialized in space. Only Kong Failing might be able to exchange a few blows with Nan Gongsheng. However, Kong Failing already had a good impression of Nan Gongsheng, so she never cursed him. The people that Nan Gongsheng punished were the ones that had cursed him. How could the dignity of a king be insulted? The expressions of those from the Purple Sun Palace were ashen, and they didn't dare to say anything. I, Nan Gongsheng, only know how to rob, not steal. Nan Gongsheng snickered coldly. After saying that, he waved his hand and used a spatial technique to plunder the resources in the cellar. The people from the Purple Sun Palace and 10,000 Sacred Clan didn't dare to stop him. However, there was one person that dared to do so, Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't stop Nan Gongsheng and instead joined in the plundering. Zhao Feng, Kong Failing, and company broke out in cold sweat for Zhao Feng. Ha ha, you're very interesting. You're very daring, just like that person. Nan Gongsheng let out a long laugh. Most of the remaining materials were useless to him, so they were dispensable. However, Zhao Feng's actions made him interested. Whoosh, whoosh. Zhao Feng created a ripple of water of wind lightning as he moved. His speed was extremely profound. Wind lightning? What's your relationship with that, Zhao Feng? Nan Gongsheng exclaimed. What relationship? Zhao Feng is my name. Zhao Feng faintly smiled as he joined in the plundering of resources. At this moment, the people from the Purple Sun Palace and 10,000 Sacred Clan were stunned. Similar, so similar, Nan Gongsheng murmured. The technique and movement technique of this Zhao Feng was similar to the original Zhao Feng. His demeanor and style of doing things were also somewhat similar. Of course, Nan Gongsheng was slightly suspicious, but he didn't believe it. He didn't believe that the left-eyed heavenly emperor, the incarnation of an unparalleled emperor, would be this youth. A while later, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng took all the resources in the cellar. Nan Gongsheng didn't attack Zhao Feng. Maybe it was because he liked Zhao Feng's way of doing things, or maybe it was because of that person. After plundering the materials, Zhao Feng's expression was calm and normal. He knew what Nan Gongsheng was thinking very well. Zhao Feng was certain that some of his actions wouldn't make Nan Gongsheng hate him. Nan Gongsheng, I won't reveal my identity, but I won't purposely hide it. Let's see if you can see through it. Zhao Feng's mouth curled up as he sent Nin Gongsheng off with his eyes. He planned to understand what Nin Gongsheng was thinking and gain more benefits for himself. After all, Nin Gongsheng was definitely one of the strongest geniuses in the divine illusion dimension. An hour later, Nin Gongsheng left the Scorpionman's area and flew toward the evil god's altar. The evil god's altar radiated a mysterious and weird undulation of power, and the nearby heaven-earth yuan qi was different. This was especially so for those with stronger bloodlines. According to the reactions of the underground races, the evil god's altar seemed to have the power to turn something rotten into something magical. That defeated Scorpion Man King should have escaped to the evil god's altar. If we follow Nan Gongsheng, we'll be the vanguard, and we'll be able to get some benefits. A cunning light flashed through Old Fei's eyes. Chapter 796. The evil god's altar was at the center of the underground city. Anyone that approached the altar was from a powerful race. From what the Scorpion Queen had told him, the Scorpion Men weren't the only powerful race near the altar. There were 3 other races that weren't weaker than the Scorpion Men. With the evil god's altar as the center, the races were ranked from the strongest to the weakest. In reality, there were rat men, cat men, and even weaker werewolves outside. Furthermore, the underground city was connected to all directions, and there were more than 1 or 2 entrances to the surface world. The people from the Purple Sun Palace had entered from another entrance. As for how Nan Gongsheng had entered the underground city, Zhao Feng didn't know. According to what he knew, even if one barely managed to enter the divine illusion dimension after reaching the level of a king, the location they would appear in was random. However, that randomness didn't apply to the entire divine illusion dimension. Outsiders would only appear in the areas where the divine illusion dimension overlapped with the continent zone, including the random kings. The areas they appeared in were just the tip of the iceberg of the divine illusion dimension. That was why the continent Lord dynasty didn't know much about the divine illusion dimension. For hours later, the group passed through the territory of the Scorpion Men. At this moment, in the complicated underground city, a tall and majestic dark square appeared. The dark square was dozens of miles in circumference. In the middle of it, there was an ancient altar that emitted a dense, evil aura. It was emitting an enormous, evil aura. At the center of the wicked altar was a pond of blood that was 100 yards wide. There was a silver pillar that was half a yard thick in the middle of the blood pond that connected to the roof of the underground city. Black Plaza, Wicked Altar, Blood Pond. The gloomy atmosphere was a good match for the style of the underground city. Of course, what attracted the most attention was a purple and blood-colored crystal bead at the top of the silver pillar. The surface of the purple blood bead was sparkling and translucent, but its interior was deep and boundless. At first glance, it looked like a human eyeball, emitting an evil power that could bewitch one's mind. The surrounding heaven and earth yuan qi trembled and became chaotic. Evil God's altar, it's here. Kong Failing felt her imperial Dao bloodline tremble slightly. This reaction was extremely strong. The mutated imperial Dao bloodline within Zhao Feng's body was the same. Whoosh! That wisp of blood-colored, glass-like flame appeared on Zhao Feng's skin for a moment before vanishing. Is this the evil god crystal? Zhao Feng secretly sized him up. He learned more about the evil god altar from the Scorpion Queen. First, the evil god crystal was a special kind of god crystal. Right now, most of the god crystals that appeared in the fan universe were substandard god crystals, including the hubs of the Spirit Zone teleportation formation. And this heretic god crystal was said to be crystallized from the divine power of an ancient heretic god. I didn't expect it to be a pure god crystal. The only flaw is that the god crystal has developed an evil nature over the years, allowing it to influence the outside world. Old Fei's face was filled with excitement. The divine crystal was not a defective product. This was the domain of God. It belonged to the heavenly divine realm. The uniqueness of this evil god crystal was that it knew how to control and restrain its own power, as well as affect the living beings around it. Nan Gongsheng, Kong Failing suddenly exclaimed. There was a pale-faced youth in black leaning against the corner of the evil god's altar. There were also some non-human corpses near the altar. It was obvious. Nan Gongsheng had arrived early, and he had gone through an intense battle that was even harder than the Scorpion Man race. According to what Zhao Feng knew, there were powerful warriors from 4 races near the evil god's altar. Apart from them, there was also a priest. Although the priest's battle power wasn't the strongest, he had the ability to communicate with the evil god crystal, and he had a high status. Nan Gongsheng, what's wrong? Kong Failing walked over with concern. Don't come over. Nan Gongsheng's expression became grim. He moved alone and temporarily separated from the sect. He did not trust anyone. Those from the Purple Sun Palace and the 10,000 sacred clans slowly approached the altar. A weird scene appeared. Many disciples seemed to be possessed when they approached the altar, and they couldn't help but walk toward the blood pond. Plop! One of the disciples from the 10,000 sacred clan licked his lips and jumped into the blood pond with a hot expression. Shoo! D! The blood pond started to bubble, and the corpse of the disciple from the 10,000 sacred clan had already disappeared. Wang, the evil god crystal, flashed faintly. Retreat! Everyone retreat! Old Fei exclaimed. Normal elites didn't have Nan Gongsheng's king intent, so they couldn't easily block the power of the evil god crystal. The members of the 2 forces soon retreated a certain distance. Only those with strong cultivation and intent could approach the evil god's altar and carefully study it. Nan Gongsheng, have you seen the priest? Zhao Feng asked. Nan Gongsheng suddenly opened his eyes, and a weird light flashed through them. The way the other person called him made him feel as if he was talking to someone he knew. Priest? I haven't seen him. There were some strong, non-human warriors near the altar, but I killed them all. Nan Gongsheng replied. He also felt that it was weird that he had the patience to answer this youth's questions. The priest from the evil god's altar didn't appear. Zhao Feng felt that something was off. Could it be that the priest had something urgent to do when Nan Gongsheng arrived at the evil god's altar? Zhao Feng felt that this was possible. After all the non-human warriors near the altar had been killed by Nan Gongsheng. One of them was even a king. Nan Gongsheng seemed to be injured, and he was slightly weak. It probably wasn't just because he was fighting. He might have been attacked by the evil god crystal's power when he tried to absorb it. After all, the evil god crystal wasn't a dead object. It had its own intelligence and abilities. If even Nan Gongsheng can't absorb the evil god crystal, then the others. Zhao Feng thought. This evil god crystal wasn't a substandard god crystal. A true god crystal was a priceless treasure in the fan universe, especially for Mystic Light Realm sacred lords. This was especially true for Mystic Light Realm sacred lords who wanted to break through to the heavenly divine realm. A pure god crystal was immeasurable. Once Zhao Feng returned to his previous life, he would be able to use the power of the god crystal. Zhao Feng casually walked onto the evil god's altar. He first glanced at the crystal of evil god before approaching the blood pool onto the silver pillar. Zhao Feng. Someone from the 10,000 sacred clan shouted. They thought that Zhao Feng had been affected by the power of the evil god crystal. A weird light flashed through Old Fei's eyes. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled, and he showed no signs of being affected by the evil god crystal. There's no need to worry. Let me take a look. Zhao Feng walked around the pond of blood as if there was no one else around. During this period of time, the evil god crystal radiated a mysterious wicked power that tried to affect Zhao Feng, but it had no effect at all. A faint purple light flashed through Zhao Feng's left eye as he glared at the evil god crystal. Wang, the evil god crystal, trembled slightly and released a layer of demonic light purple blood radiance, which had a kind of backlashing power that could corrode one's soul and body. Zhao Feng stood still and didn't move. His mental energy world was like a dead ocean, and his sacred lightning body released an invisible physical force that protected his body. The strength of both his mental energy and physical body made Zhao Feng's recultivation perfect. Of course, The evil god crystal wasn't a complete sentient being, and it wasn't very active. The power of the backlash was also dependent on the outside force. Simply put, it could be seen as a weapon with a spirit. If one didn't provoke it, it would be very hard for the weapon to attack or protect its owner. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng squatted down and pointed his hand at the pond of blood. Wang, a ball of blood, appeared in Zhao Feng's hand with the help of an invisible physical force. Apart from the corrosive and evil nature of the blood itself, this blood contains an enormous amount of pure blood essence power. It can strengthen the body and increase one's true yuan. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. The power of the blood essence came from some ancient races in the underground city. Furthermore, the power of the blood essence was also affected by the evil god crystal. According to Queen Scorpion's reaction, some of the warriors in the underground city had entered the blood pond and their strength had increased. The priest could communicate with the evil god crystal, so some people wouldn't be corroded by the evil power when they entered the blood pond. But correspondingly, every year, the underground city would send some prisoners into the blood pond to worship the evil god. If not, the underground fire would spread and engulf half of the underground city, causing countless living beings to fall into disaster. Some races tried not to worship the evil god. In the end, all the areas of those races were flooded by the underground fire. As time went on, the light of the evil god's power affected the entire underground city. Those who believed in the evil god would receive the gift of power, and those who didn't would face disaster. You humans, the power of the evil god will tear you apart. A furious roar came from the tunnel opposite the square. In the next instant, a haggard snakeman elder was holding a staff with a purple and blood-colored gemstone as he ran over. That is, everyone was stunned as they looked at the serpent man, old man in the priest robe. It's the priest. The snake man who was fleeing in a sorry state was the high priest of the heretic god altar. However, when he saw the mess on the evil god's altar, he couldn't help but exclaim in shock. Humans, you split up and tried to attack the evil god's altar. The power of the evil god isn't something you can see. The great priest cursed in the human language. Zhao Feng was stunned. From the looks of it, the snakeman priest was being chased by some power. According to what he knew, the priest came from the nearby snakeman race. Watch out! The priest is a void god realm king. Old Fei exclaimed. The priest didn't specialize in fighting, but he was still a king and could communicate with the evil god crystal. Anger of the evil god. The snakeman priest waved the staff in his hand, and the purple and blood-colored gemstones on it started to shine with the evil god crystal on the pillar. Wong boom. In an instant, the entire darkness square shook violently. An invisible purple and blood-colored light spread through the air. The purple and blood-colored light had a strong corrosive ability, and the life force of all beings present started to disappear. Furthermore, there was also a magnificent power within the purple and blood-colored light that suppressed the air. Oomph! Nan Gongxing's figure flashed and disappeared. The next instant, an invisible spatial blade slashed toward the snakeman priest. The snakeman priest wasn't scared at all. A purple and blood-colored light radiated from the staff in his hand as he pushed Nan Gongxing back. Just as everyone was shocked by the priest's power, Snakeman priest, where do you think you're going? A thunderous roar sounded along with a surge of magnificent power. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Several figures with powerful auras appeared from the Snakeman territory. There was a total of 150 to 60 of them. Chapter 797. This group was even stronger than the group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan. It was obvious that they were from another force that was chasing after the Snakeman priest. What force is chasing after the Snakeman priest here? Old Yin and company were surprised, but they also let out a breath. The power that the priest used to communicate with the evil god Crystal was indeed monstrous. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The leader of this group was a burly man with thick eyebrows. He held a long spear in his hand that was overflowing with lightning. You humans came at the right time. The Serpent Man High Priest was infuriated when he saw them. This group had just destroyed the home of the snakeman race, and the priest couldn't even make it back in time. He wasn't a match for the muscular male. Once he left the black square, the snakeman priest would find it hard to communicate with the power of the evil god crystal. Boom! Boom! The snakeman priest waved his staff, and arcs of purple lightning shot toward the group of humans. Arc! The aggressive crowd immediately fell into chaos and screams could be heard. They didn't expect the snakeman priest to have such power after entering this place. Extreme lightning spear. The muscular male with thick eyebrows stabbed out with his spear, and the power of lightning condensed to the limit. Lightning streaked through the air like lightning. Bam! A purple and blood-colored light radiated from the snakeman priest's body, and it merged with the power of the evil god crystal. Although the snakeman priest couldn't truly use this power, it suppressed the snakeman priest. The muscular male with thick eyebrows spear wasn't able to break through the snakeman priest's defense. How is this possible? The muscular male with thick eyebrows was dazed. The snakeman priest that he had beaten earlier had become so strong. On the other hand, the snakeman priest casually waved his staff, and a purple and blood-colored light turned into a wave of light that forced the muscular male with thick eyebrows to retreat. The power of the evil god crystal is too strong. Even if it doesn't contain any intent, Zhao Feng retreated to a corner. The snakeman priest's attacks didn't contain any technique. It was just pure power. In terms of pure strength, even Void God Realm Emperors paled in comparison. Luckily, the power of the evil god crystal was just pure power, and it didn't contain any techniques. Anger of the evil god. The snakeman priest slightly raised his staff, and the power of the evil god crystal suppressed everyone present. The entire black square was covered in a purple and blood-colored light. The experts and elites present all felt that their blood auras and bloodline power were being drained continuously. However, the color of the evil god crystal became even brighter. Zhao Feng finally understood why the power of the evil god crystal was able to sense bloodline experts. Are you Gu Chaoji, who's ranked 145th on the Imperial ranking? Let's join hands and fight this Naga Shaman together. Ancestor 1,000 Dragons, weaken evil. The 1,000 Clan Ancestor, evil, Saint 1,000 Beasts. 1,000 Sacred, 1,000 Fey, Sacred 1,000. That Gu Chun Dragon from Li. At the same time, he was also a genius on the Great Qian Imperial roll, and his ranking was much higher than Kong Phalanx. Sure, Gu Chaoji was very straightforward. He told the disciples and elites of Earth Spirit Hall to form a formation and fight against the Snakeman Priest. The 10,000 Sacred Clan and Purple Sun Palace were facing less pressure, so they started to counterattack. The geniuses of Earth Spirit Hall, 10,000 Sacred Clan, and Purple Sun Palace teamed up. Their power was not to be underestimated. Earth Spirit Hall was a 3-star superpower. Boom! Boom! The square where the evil god's altar was located started to shake. The Snakeman Priest gripped his staff with difficulty, and it wasn't as easy as before. Gu Chaoji and Nan Gongsheng, 2 king geniuses, attacked from the sides, looking for openings. Let's kill the Snakeman Priest first, then discuss how to split the evil god crystals. The 3 forces in Nan Gongsheng came to an agreement, and their attacks became even fiercer. The Snakeman Priest could communicate with the power of the evil god crystal, but he couldn't use its true power. Slowly but surely, the Snakeman Priest was at a disadvantage. However, the 3 forces couldn't do anything to the Snakeman Priest. The Snakeman Priest retreated to the evil god's altar and used the power of the evil god crystal and the blood pond. If he focused on defense, even 2 kings wouldn't be able to break through his defense. What was even worse was that the wicked power of the evil god crystal filled the entire square, and the life force, blood, and true yuan of everyone within it started to fade. The life force was then absorbed by the evil god crystal and the blood pond. If this continued, the 3 forces wouldn't have a good time either. Of course, the Snakeman Priest would expend a lot of energy during the fight. We have a numbers advantage. We can exhaust him to death. The attacks of the three forces continued. Some of them even shifted their attacks to the altar. If we destroy the altar, the power of the evil god crystal will be greatly reduced. Old Faye laughed. Crack! Under the intense attacks, cracks started to appear on the altar, even though it was extremely tough. The expression of the snakeman priest changed slightly. Scorpion King, come out! The priest suddenly roared and waved the staff in his hand. Who? A large, ugly, and pitch-black scorpion man jumped out of the blood pond in the middle of the altar. Scorpion King. This scorpion man was the one that Nan Gongseng had defeated earlier. The Scorpion Man King's injuries had mostly healed after entering the blood pond, and it was surrounded by a purple and blood-colored light. Its battle power and defense had both increased dramatically. Kill! The Scorpion Man King waved its pincers and charged toward the group of people with a dark, magnificent power. Loser! Nan Gongseng used a spatial movement technique and instantly closed in on the Scorpion Man King, slashing out waves of spatial energy. The pressure on the priest decreased dramatically after the Scorpion Man King joined the battle. The Scorpion Man King's offense and defense were both strong. It was like adding wings to a tiger with the help of the evil god crystal. On the contrary, Nan Gongseng wasn't at his peak state, so it was hard for him to deal with it. Bam! Gu Chaoji from the Earth Spirit Hall wielded his spear and charged into the evil god's altar several times, but he was sent flying every time. The priest had the protection of the evil god crystal, so he was basically undefeatable in terms of defense. Everyone retreat. Old Faye exclaimed as he felt that the situation wasn't right. Of the two kings, Nan Gongseng had used up most of his yuan qi and was slightly weak. Gu Chaoji wasn't at his peak either. The three sides came to an agreement and temporarily retreated from the evil god's altar through one of the entrances. In the dark tunnel of the underground city, the three sides immediately started to discuss and sent people to monitor the situation of the evil god's altar. The Scorpion Man King returned to the blood pond. The priest didn't dare to let the Scorpion Man King leave so easily, or else he wouldn't be able to defend the altar against the elites of the three sections. Once my true yuan recovers, I'll take action and destroy the altar. At that time, I hope that no one will hold back. Nan Gongseng said. He sat down in a corner and recovered his yuan qi. Good. I also had some powerful secret techniques that I didn't use just then. Gu Chaoji nodded his head. The key to dealing with the priest was to destroy the altar. As long as the priest used the evil god crystal's power, it would be greatly reduced, and he would definitely die. In the next day or two, the geniuses and elites of the three sects were all resting. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, was full of energy. He hadn't done much in the underground city yet. Dark lightning wood. Half a piece of pitch black wood appeared in Zhao Feng's hand, and he circulated the wind lightning technique to absorb the dark lightning within. This piece of dark lightning wood was a peak-grade item that contained the pure essence of lightning. Zhao Feng's wind lightning technique absorbed lightning from the 10,000 lightning sects, 5-elemental 10,000 lightning technique. Of course, during the absorption process, Zhao Feng had to eliminate some of the dark power within the dark lightning wood. Dark wind bamboo. A piece of bamboo appeared in Zhao Feng's other hand and created a gust of cold wind. He had obtained the dark lightning wood and dark wind bamboo from the secret room earlier. These two resources were rare in the outside world, and they corresponded to the elements of wind and lightning. Zhao Feng had reached the level of the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, so he could split his thoughts into several parts and use the 10,000 lightning technique to absorb. 5-elemental water spirit grass. The third peak-grade water elemental grass appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. This guy's really extravagant. Such precious treasures of heaven and earth, yet he absorbed them just like that. Some of the elites of the three sects were envious and jealous. Some of the older generation even shook their heads. Zhao Feng's ability to absorb three resources at the same time also surprised everyone. What was more surprising was that Zhao Feng's absorption efficiency was very high, and there wasn't much loss of heaven and earth energy. If this wasn't talent, then it must be a rare secret technique. That kid cultivates the Tao of wind and lightning. Gu Chaoji from the Earth Spirit Hall murmured and glanced at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng cultivated as if there was no one else around. In reality, he still had the wind lightning bone of the purple wind lightning lion, but he couldn't take it out for the time being. Soon, a day or two passed. Zhao Feng had absorbed more than half of the 3 heavenly resources. His efficiency was astonishing. The core within Zhao Feng's body expanded slightly. At this moment, his cultivation had consolidated from the middle stage small origin core realm, and he was one step closer to the late stage small origin core realm. After I finish absorbing the power of the wind lightning bone, my cultivation will be able to reach the late stage small origin core realm. Zhao Feng couldn't help but think. Of course, the Scorpion Man King had a king-level crystal core of the purple wind lightning lion, which was even more valuable. If he could obtain that king-level crystal core, it wouldn't be hard for Zhao Feng to break through to the great origin core realm. Prepare to attack. Gu Chaoji from the Earth Spirit Hall slowly stood up, and his spear flashed with lightning. On the other side, Nan Gongsheng also stood up. This time, the 3 sects formed their own arrays to attack the evil god's altar. The power of that formation could make use of the advantage of numbers. Evil god's wrath. The snakeman priest snickered coldly as he waved his staff, and a wicked purple and blood-colored light covered the area. However, with the corresponding arrays, everyone's resistance to the evil god crystal's power increased dramatically, and the pressure on them decreased. At the same time, Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji attacked. Lightning explosion. The Earth-grade spear in Gu Chaoji's hand shot out and spat out a condensed ball of lightning that instantly exploded when it struck the altar. In that instant, the entire altar, including the spacious square, began to tremble violently, accompanied by a continuous rumbling. So, Gu Chaoji's move was to throw out the Earth-grade spear and make it explode together with a ball of lightning on the tip of the spear. This move was equivalent to using an Earth-ranked divine weapon as the carrier of a bomb. Its might was extremely terrifying. Crack! Cracks started to appear on the evil god's altar. Gu Chaoji was slightly smug after completing this move, but he jumped up in fright when he looked at Nan Gongsheng. Chapter 798. Just as everyone was shocked by Gu Chaoji's powerful electrode explosion, Qinkuan's sword, Nan Gongsheng released a bright silver light as an inheritance sacred sword appeared in his hand. He slowly slashed out, and a bright silver sword light appeared in the air and created a power that could shake heaven and earth. That sword contained a domineering intent that seemed to be able to twist heaven and earth. As the Qinkuan sword slashed out, all the intents and techniques in front of it were shattered. Bam! That sword strike had forcefully split the purple and blood-colored radiance that had enveloped the entire darkness square into 2 and into pieces. Crack! Boom! Even the sturdy underground city was shaking violently, and this was under the divine illusion dimension suppression of power. The evil god's sacrificial altar, which bore the brunt of the attack, was crumbling layer by layer. Inheritance sacred weapons are usually comparable to heaven-grade weapons. The snakeman priest was stunned. Qinkuan's sword. It's the lost inheritance sacred weapon of the continent. On the other side, Gu Chaoji was slightly dazed. The power of Nan Gongsheng's sword was comparable to his lightning explosion, but its ability to twist heaven and earth and destroy intent was even more unique. Who was superior and who was inferior was clear at a glance. As expected of an inheritance sacred sword that's comparable to the sky-locking bow. In the rear, Zhao Feng inwardly sighed. The Qinkuan sword and the sky-locking bow both came from the demigod Forgotten Garden. At his peak, the demigod Kuan Yin stood at the peak of the world, and his weapon was a top treasure. Damned humans! The snakeman priest felt the altar crumble. He quickly waved his staff and communicated with the evil god crystal to protect the altar. However, the evil god's sacrificial altar wouldn't be able to last much longer against Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji's continuous attacks. "Come out!" The snakeman priest gritted his teeth and slammed his staff onto the ground. Boom! In the blood pool at the center of the altar, waves of blood surged and a blood-colored whirlpool appeared in the center. Bam! An evil giant scorpion rushed out of the blood-red vortex. Its body had a dark blood-red luster, and its eyes were scarlet. Its face looked similar to the Scorpion Man King from before. The giant dark blood scorpion was like a small mountain, emitting a bloodthirsty and berserk aura. Bang! Rumble! The underground city square where the evil god's altar was located shook violently again, as if it couldn't bear the tremendous power. "Be careful," Old Faye shouted. The aura that the dark blood scorpion gave off was several times stronger than the Scorpion Man King's. Bang! Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji, who bore the brunt of the attack, were sent flying by the purple and blood-colored whirlwind created by the dark blood scorpion. After being strengthened by the evil god Crystal Blood Pond, the Scorpion Man King's battle power has reached the peak tier king level. Other than the gap between our souls and intents, there are certain aspects in which he doesn't lose out to god monarchs. In the rear, Zhao Feng and the others all felt a violent and oppressive aura. Every time the dark blood scorpion waved its hand, a cold purple and blood-colored light would turn into a whirlwind that shattered everything in its path. Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji had to team up to barely block its attack. If the dark blood scorpion charged into the crowd, the consequences would be unimaginable. Split into two groups, Old Faye commanded the geniuses in the rear. The other geniuses of the three sects split into three groups. One of them was used to restrict the dark blood scorpion. The other was used to attack the evil god's altar. Chinquin Void Slash. Nan Gongsheng appeared in the air above the dark blood scorpion and slashed out a half-transparent silver crack that was half a yard wide and dozens of yards long. Everything in the air was instantly torn apart by the power of space. This spatial technique was said to be unstoppable with the help of the Chinquin sword. Crack! The dark blood-colored light around the dark blood scorpion was instantly torn apart, leaving behind a bone-deep wound that went straight to the organs. The dark blood scorpion's roar shook the sky, and the square started to shake. Shwa! Nan Gongsheng disappeared and dodged the furious counterattack of the dark blood scorpion before appearing next to it and unleashing a lightning-fast slash. Lightning explosion. A spear-shaped, earth-ranked divine weapon appeared in Gu Chaoji's hand. Carrying with it a condensed and dazzling ball of lightning, it pierced into the dark blood scorpion's roaring mouth and instantly exploded. Boom! The dark blood scorpion's enormous body was charred black by the raging electric arcs. Its face and mouth were almost blown apart. Of course, although Gu Chaoji's attack was strong, it would use up a weapon every time it attacked. Its advantage was obvious, unlike Nan Gongsheng's Chinquin sword, which used up a lot of energy. Ding! Ding! Boom! Boom! At the same time, the attacks from the three sects landed on the dark blood scorpion. The dark blood scorpion was already covered in injuries, and fear appeared in its eyes. It was helpless against Nan Gongsheng's spatial abilities. The Chinquin sword was extremely powerful, and when combined with spatial techniques, it was unstoppable. Furthermore, Nan Gongsheng was a rare domain-level king. As time passed, the dark blood scorpion was covered in injuries. Its powerful physical defense wasn't able to block the spatial techniques of the Chinquin sword. Seeing this, the head priest on the altar straightened his face. With the destruction of the evil god's altar, his ability to communicate with the evil god Crystal had decreased by 1/5. Furthermore, this time, the three sects had formed a strong array, and their offensive and defensive techniques were stronger. Their resistance against the evil god Crystal also increased dramatically. No matter how strong they were, they couldn't fight against so many people. The dark blood scorpion was about to be defeated by the attacks of the three sections. Panic finally appeared on the priest's face. "Evil god tide," the priest exclaimed as he stabbed the staff into the pond of blood, causing waves of light to ripple. The evil god pearl on the silver pillar released a rain of purple and blood-colored light that radiated a power that surpassed the void god realm. Boom! Pooh! In an instant, the purple and blood-colored light intertwined with the heaven-earth yuan qi and roared, forming a tide that swept across heaven and earth. This tide caused all attacks and powers that were based on heaven-earth yuan qi to become chaotic. The blood of the experts of the three sects started to boil, and their true yuan and true force became unstable. At this moment, chaos ensued. Only a small number of half-step void god realms, or stronger, were able to stabilize their true yuan. Even the attacks of the two kings stopped for a moment. However, the Dark Blood Scorpion's physical strength was strong. Even if yuan qi was disturbed, its claws could still threaten void god realm kings. Training the physical body won't be affected by these special circumstances. Zhao Feng stood as still as Mount Tai. The high priest tied to the evil god could affect all kinds of true power and true essence on the basis of heaven and earth yuan qi. In some special circumstances, it could even restrict the heaven-earth yuan qi. However, body-strengthening techniques and physical strength weren't affected by these circumstances. In the past, the demigod Kuan Yin relied on his demigod's sacred body to dominate heaven and earth. He used pure strength to crush everything without fear. Even if the priest does this, it doesn't affect the situation much. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. Up until now, in the exploration of a dungeon, he was always a supporting character. Apart from enslaving the Scorpion Queen, Zhao Feng hadn't used his true strength. However, because benefits weren't the most important thing yet. Don't let him run. Old Face suddenly realized something and exclaimed. As soon as he finished speaking, under the cover of the evil god tide, the snakeman priest on the altar fled. So, seeing that the situation was hopeless, the snakeman priest decided to sacrifice himself to save his own life. Due to the evil god tide, the experts of the three sects weren't able to circulate their true yuan as they wished. On the other hand, he had the staff and could communicate with the power of the evil god crystal, so he wasn't affected by the evil god tide. Where do you think you're going? Nan Gongsheng turned into a streak of silver light and chased after the snakeman priest. The power of space was a unique way of using power, so it wasn't affected much by the evil god tide. Furthermore, the snakeman priest wasn't able to use the true power of the tide. Even then, Nan Gongsheng's speed was greatly restricted, and he could only barely keep up. More than a dozen breaths later, Nan Gongsheng chased out of the black square, and the evil god tide's influence was at its lowest. Die! Nan Gongsheng slashed out a ripple-like void wave blade and sent the snakeman shaman flying with a PFFF sound. The snakeman priest screamed as his body turned into a bloody mess. Even the scepter in his hand flew out of his hand due to the impact. Meow meow! A dark silver streak flashed, and a little silver-gray cat appeared. The kitten moved swiftly and grabbed the scepter. Nan Gongsheng was surprised to see the little cat. Meow! The little thieving cat grabbed the staff with the purple and blood-colored gem and smiled at Nan Gongsheng. Give me back my evil god staff. The snakeman priest reacted and roared in anger. Tai! The little thieving cat waved the staff and smacked the snakeman priest's head before disappearing. The snakeman priest howled as a bump appeared on his head, and he felt dizzy. Meow! The little thieving cat grabbed the staff and disappeared from in front of Nan Gongsheng and the snakeman priest. Could it be? Nan Gongsheng's heart shook, but he didn't have time to think. He slashed out a silver spatial rend and cut the slightly dizzy snakeman priest in two. A while later, meow meow meow, a little cat holding a staff appeared on the evil god's altar and danced around like a god. The geniuses and elites of the three sects all had weird expressions. At this moment, the power of the evil god tide still hadn't stopped. Meow! The little thieving cat's eyes spun as it waved the staff in its hand. Instantly, the evil god tide that was wreaking havoc in the space suddenly stopped. That seems to be Zhao Feng's pet. A core disciple from the 10,000 Sacred Clan exclaimed. Could this cat have been possessed by the priest? It can actually communicate with the power of the evil god crystal. The geniuses and elites of the three sects were puzzled. Soon, the wicked power of the evil god crystal also started to fade away. Schwa. At the same time, the dark-blooded scorpion turned back into its scorpion man form and entered a tunnel. However, no one paid attention to the scorpion man king that was running away. Everyone's eyes were on the little cat on the altar. Zhao Feng, your cat. How did it become the new priest of the evil god's altar? Old Fei's eyes bulged out. Kong, Failing, and company were all stunned as they looked at the owner of the cat, Zhao Feng. Chapter 799. Meow Meow. The little thieving cat, which was slightly bigger than a palm, waved the evil god's scepter and danced around arrogantly. It was like a little god. At this point in time, no one present dared to ignore this little thing because it also had the ability to communicate with the evil god crystal. In this aspect, it wasn't any weaker than the snakeman priest from before. The leaders of the three forces, Gu Chaoji, the purple-robed youth, Kong, Failing, Old Fei, and company, seemed to choke. Gu Chaoji and the purple-robed youth didn't know what was going on. They didn't want to see a new high priest appear after they had finally defeated one of them with great difficulty. Zhao Feng. The gazes of the elites of the 10,000 sacred clan landed on the handsome youth. The owner of this cat was none other than Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. So it really is you. Not far away, Nan Gongsheng revealed a complex and solemn expression. After seeing the little thieving cat, Nan Gongsheng was 80 to 90% sure that this Zhao Feng was the original Zhao Feng. As for how Zhao Feng became like this, he didn't know. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng know each other. The elders and disciples of the 10,000 sacred clan were filled with disbelief. One had to know, Nan Gongsheng came from the Tsang Ocean, and he was a core disciple of a 3-star power. From a situation, Nan Gongsheng seemed to be wary of Zhao Feng. I didn't say he wasn't. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. Nan Gongsheng paused. Thinking back to what Zhao Feng said in the Scorpion Man race's territory, Zhao Feng is my name. Zhao Feng didn't deny it, but he wouldn't say it out loud either. What's going on? The elites of the three forces didn't know what was going on. The disciples of the 10,000 sacred clan were especially surprised. This Zhao Feng, Kong, Failing, Lu Tianfan, Huang Yunhu, and company stared at Zhao Feng. They felt that this youth seemed to be shrouded in layers of fog, and there were all kinds of mysteries about him. Zhao Feng slowly walked toward the evil god altar. In fact, the heretic god's altar was already in pieces, but the blood pool at its core was not destroyed. Zhao Feng, Nan Gongsheng looked at the back of that youth and wanted to say something. At this moment, there were thousands of questions in his mind. In the Tsang Sea, the name of the left-eyed heavenly emperor had shaken the 3 spiritual holy lands. That soul-stirring pursuit of death became a much-told story. The Emperor of Death was the oldest forbidden emperor in the Tsang Ocean. Even Mystic Light Realm sacred lords didn't dare to offend him. Afterwards, when a Mystic Light Realm Grand Elder of the Mystic True Sacred Clan heard about this, he was stunned. His clan had given birth to such a talented person. If the left-eyed Heavenly Emperor was still in the Tsang Ocean, even a sacred lord would be polite to him. Zhao Feng did not explain and slowly walked towards the blood pool. Thump! Zhao Feng's figure suddenly jumped into the blood pool under the heretic god crystal pillar. D. The faint purple waves of blood washed over Zhao Feng's body, but he wasn't corroded by the wicked power. Not only does this blood pool contain a large amount of pure blood essence, it also contains the power of the evil god crystal. Zhao Feng laid in the blood pool and seemed to be enjoying it. The little thieving cat could communicate with the power of the evil god crystal through the evil god scepter, so Zhao Feng wouldn't be corroded by the wicked power. If not, even a small origin core realm would be instantly melted if they jumped into the blood pool. Zhao Feng circulated the golden Kuan sacred lightning body and used the blood essence and the power of the god crystal to refine his body. The power of the blood had a high affinity with the human body, so it was quite effective. Furthermore, the power within the blood pool could not only strengthen his body, but it could also increase his true yuan cultivation. Before this, Zhao Feng had his eyes on the blood pool. Although the evil god crystal was valuable, he was unable to absorb the power within it right now. Shua, Shua, Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji, the two king geniuses, jumped next to the blood pool. Gu Chaoji glanced at Zhao Feng in the blood pool, then gave Nan Gongsheng a questioning look. In terms of strength, Nan Gongsheng was slightly stronger than him. However, from the looks of it, Nan Gongsheng was wary of this youth at the small origin core realm. Zhao Feng, what do you plan to do with the evil god crystal? Nan Gongsheng finally spoke. Hearing that, the hearts of the elites of the three sects, including the king Gu Chaoji, shook. Nan Gongsheng's strength obviously won over everyone. His spatial talents and secret techniques, as well as the power of the inheritance sacred weapon, the Qinkuan sword, were deeply engraved in everyone's hearts. However, at this moment, Nan Gongsheng was asking for Zhao Feng's opinion on how to split the evil god crystal. The blood pool is mine, but the evil god crystal isn't very useful to me right now. However, if anyone can help me obtain the crystal core of the purple wind lightning lion, I will do my best to help them obtain the evil god crystal. Zhao Feng said slowly. He thought about it and decided to give up on the evil god crystal. Firstly, the evil god crystal was too big of a deal. It was a god crystal, and it was a hot potato. Right now, Zhao Feng could only fight against kings at most. He didn't want to become everyone's target. Secondly, the power contained within the evil god crystal was too strong, and it was hard to absorb. There was no point in holding it for a short period of time. There was another important point. The power within the evil god crystal wasn't pure anymore, and it was tainted by evil. In comparison, some of the god crystal's power had been merged into the blood pool, and it could be absorbed to increase Zhao Feng's strength. Thirdly, the evil god crystal was extremely hard to obtain. When Zhao Feng first entered the evil god's altar, he had used his god's spiritual eye to test it. The evil god crystal had a strong backlash. This Zhao Feng isn't just smart. Just one sentence. Take the most practical blood pool and give the hot, diabolical crystal to someone else. Old Fei's eyes twinkled. At this moment, no one dared to fight with Zhao Feng for the blood pool. After all, his cat had replaced the snakeman priest and could communicate with the power of the evil god crystal. Furthermore, Nan Gongsheng's cautious and respectful attitude towards Zhao Feng made him seem even more unfathomable. Sure, Nan Gongsheng was the first to agree. He walked the Tao of space, not body strengthening, so the power of the blood pool wasn't very tempting. Gu Chaoji and the geniuses of Earth Spirit Hall were slightly unhappy. Senior Martial Brother Gu, are we really going to give him the benefits of the blood pool? The true inheritors behind him said with dissatisfaction on their faces. Gu Chaoji's gaze swept over Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng, but he remained silent. The current situation, Nan Gongsheng was completely on Zhao Feng's side, and the little thieving cat had become the priest of the evil god's altar. Brother, do you mean what you say? You'll help whoever gets the crystal core of the purple wind lightning lion get the evil god crystal? A white-bearded half-step king from Earth Spirit Hall stared at Zhao Feng in the blood pool. Of course, I won't stop others from getting the evil god crystal. However, I'll only try my best. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get the evil god crystal. Zhao Feng replied. Hearing that, people from the three sects tried to get the evil god crystal. However, they all failed and even suffered the backlash of the evil god crystal. Wah! The white-bearded half-step king instantly spat out a mouthful of blood. The others who tried were more or less at a disadvantage. The person in the worst condition was sent flying by the power of the evil god crystal and fainted. A playful smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he laid in the blood pool. The evil god crystal wasn't a normal god crystal. Apparently, it was formed from the power of an evil god's god, and it was now wicked and had the ability to affect the outside world. There was a purple and blood-colored gem embedded in the staff in the little thieving cat's hand. It was actually a peak-grade primal crystal stone that had been refined by the power of the evil god crystal, and it maintained a connection with the evil god crystal. D. Zhao Feng laid in the blood pool and used his blood essence and the power of the god crystal to refine his body and strengthen his true yuan. Shua, shua, shua. Dark lightning wood, wind bamboo, 5 balanced water spirit grass, and other items appeared in front of Zhao Feng. In the blink of an eye, more than half a day passed. In this period of time, many geniuses and elites from the 3 sects tried to obtain the god crystal, but none of them succeeded. Then Gongsheng sat down and didn't try. When he first arrived, he tried to obtain the evil god crystal and suffered a strong backlash. Gu Chaoji from Earth Spirit Hall secretly sent people to search for the Scorpion Man King. Zhao Feng, I'm going to take the crystal core of the purple wind lightning lion. Nan Gongsheng stood up. At this moment, he had recovered his yuan qi, and his figure flashed as he disappeared from the evil god's altar. Senior Martial Brother Gu, Nan Gongsheng has already left. Now is the best time to take action against that brat. A core disciple from Earth Spirit Hall suggested. Gu Chaoji stood there and gave a deep glance at Zhao Feng in the blood pool. Brother Gu, I'm not your match in a one-on-one fight. Zhao Feng smiled faintly as he glanced at him. Hearing that, Gu Chaoji's face twitched. As for the other disciples of the 3 sects, they had strange looks on their faces. What kind of opponent would purposely reveal that he wasn't as strong as his opponent? The more Zhao Feng acted like this, the more uneasy Gu Chaoji felt. Thinking about how Nan Gongsheng was extremely cautious and wary of this youth, Zhao Feng didn't feel confident. Let's go find a Scorpion Man King, Gu Chaoji ordered, and led a group of people to search for the Scorpion Man King. The evil god crystal wasn't the only place to obtain resources in the underground city. There were many other places that could be explored. Zhao Feng couldn't help but shake his head as he lay in the blood pool. He hadn't tricked Gu Chaoji with what he just said. Right now, Zhao Feng's soul strength was close to that of a Void God Realm king, so he could easily deal with those below the Void God Realm. However, Gu Chaoji was a king on the Imperial Genius rankings, and his battle power was strong. If it was a one-on-one fight, Zhao Feng might have the ability to protect himself, but the chances of him winning were very small. Within the blood pool, Zhao Feng's cultivation was clearly increasing. After using the dark lightning wood, the dark wind bamboo, and the 5-layered water spiritual tree, his cultivation was approaching the late stage, small origin core realm. The blood essence and the power of the god crystals in the pond of blood had a lot of room for improvement in his sacred lightning body and true yuan cultivation. At the same time, some disciples of the 10,000 sacred clan murmured unhappily. This Zhao Feng is taking the power of the blood pool for himself. How selfish. He has the ability, but he doesn't help our clan steal the evil god crystal. Several disciples and older elites were extremely unhappy and decided to lecture Zhao Feng. Looking at the current situation, Zhao Feng did not want to fall out with the sect. The evil god crystal is not something we can possess. Zhao Feng shook his head. Elder Fei's eyes flashed, and he raised his hand to stop the disciples who wanted to defend themselves. Zhao Feng is right. The heretic god crystal is a hot potato. Even if we obtain it, it is of no practical significance to us and will only attract unnecessary disasters. Elder Fei agreed with this point. He admired Zhao Feng's decision to give up the evil god crystal. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng did not have absolute strength, so he gave the evil god crystal to Nan Gongsheng, Gu Chaoji, and the other super geniuses to fight for it. I can give you 10 vats of this blood pool's essence blood. Zhao Feng thought for a while and said. The power of the blood pool was not simple. The only downside was that the wicked power of the evil god crystal was extremely corrosive. Sure, Elder Fei let out a breath. The 10,000 sacred clan soon had 10 vats of essence blood, which wasn't even 1/10 of the entire blood pool. However, these blood essences could only be used after they were specially processed and refined. It was unlike Zhao Feng, who cultivated a body-strengthening technique and had the little thieving cat communicate with the evil god Crystal, preventing the wicked power from corroding him. Furthermore, Zhao Feng could also use some wicked power to refine his body. For the next few days, Zhao Feng laid in the blood pool and focused on cultivating and tempering his body. The blood pool was made from the blood essence of the powerful races in the underground city, and the power of the evil god Crystal was merged into it. This blood pool could be used as the source of the evil god's altar, and it could also be used to strengthen a race. Zhao Feng circulated the wind-lightning technique and the sacred lightning body to absorb the power of the blood pond, to refine his body and strengthen his blood yuan qi. During this time, Nan Gongsheng and those from the Earth Spirit Hall were trying to find the Scorpion Man King. However, the terrain of the underground city was too complicated, and it would be hard to find the Scorpion Man King even if it wanted to hide. The Purple Sun Palace and the 10,000 Sacred Clan focused on the resources of the underground city as spoils of war. What surprised everyone was that, after the little thieving cat took over the position of priest, some races of the underground city came over and even offered up tributes. Zhao Feng decided to give these things to the 10,000 Sacred Clan. With the little thieving cat as the core, the 10,000 Sacred Clan, the Purple Sun Palace, and the Earth Spirit Hall were the executors, and they started to conquer the nearby races. The result was much smoother than expected. These races were extremely respectful towards the identity of the evil god's priest. Even the races that weren't any weaker than the Scorpion Men didn't dare to attack them and would at least offer up some tributes. This was especially true for the evil god. When the little thieving cat displayed the power of the evil god, these races became even more obedient. The power of the evil god Crystal isn't that simple, Zhao Feng murmured. He knew a lot about this from the Scorpion Man Queen. There were people who tried to resist the evil god's altar in the underground city, but they were destroyed by fire or natural disasters like earthquakes. From the little thieving cat, Zhao Feng learned that the evil god's priest really did have the power to change the weather underground. The evil god priest really did have the ability to affect the climate of the underground world through the evil god Crystal. However, this power exhausted a lot of the priest's mental energy, so they usually didn't use it easily. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. With the help of the wind-lightning bones and the power of the blood pond, Zhao Feng's cultivation finally broke through to the late-stage, small origin core realm. The size and quality of Zhao Feng's core increased once more. Some of his core had even started to crystallize. The disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan were envious of this speed of cultivation. Isn't this Zhao Feng afraid that his foundation won't be stable? Old Fei couldn't help but start to think. Reality proved that Zhao Feng's foundation and cultivation were extremely stable. Because he cultivated both the wind-lightning technique and the sacred lightning body, his foundation was much stronger than other geniuses at the same time. After breaking through a small rank, Zhao Feng's focus turned back to cultivating the sacred lightning body. Over the past few days, Zhao Feng's golden Kuan sacred lightning body was closing in on the late stages of the 4th level. Once my sacred lightning body reaches the early stage of the 4th level, I'll be able to use my sacred lightning body. I can crush small origin core realms and great origin core realms with just the power of my body. I can't find a match for anyone below the half-step void god realm. Zhao Feng was delighted and somewhat expectant. What was more comforting was, while he was cultivating, he could also receive offerings from the underground races. Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat took 40% of the offerings from the other races. The remaining 60% was split between the Earth Spirit Hall, the 10,000 Sacred Clan, and the Purple Sun Palace. Gu Chaoji and Nan Gongsheng focused on finding the Scorpion Man King. On this day, Zhao Feng took out the Dark Dragon Toothgrass and other body-strengthening resources in order to break through to the late stages of the sacred lightning body. Some of these supplementary body refining materials came from the previous material room, and some were offerings from the various races. Almost there, Zhao Feng's entire body was immersed in the blood pool. Traces of silver-blue metal-like lightning patterns appeared on the surface of his body, shining brightly. In the blood pool, an invisible physical force spread out from his body, growing stronger and stronger. Every living being that came close felt an indescribably heavy pressure in their flesh and blood. At a certain moment, his physical strength was like a mountain. With a boom, he broke through a shackle. The blood of the nearby disciples started to flip, and they almost spat out blood. Zhao Feng's physical strength seemed to merge with the air, accompanied by the howling of wind and lightning. It was as if waves were crashing against the shore. Right now, I can kill a small origin core realm with just one punch with my physical body. Zhao Feng felt the strength of his body. The strength of his body nourished his mental energy and created a dominating intent. The golden Kuan sacred lightning body wasn't just about strengthening the body. When the body reached a certain level, it could strengthen one's mind and intent. When it reached a certain level, it could even merge the soul and body together. At that time, the soul of a body-cultivating cultivator would no longer be a weakness. At his peak, the demigod Kuan Yin had reached this point and even managed to cultivate the rebirth from a single drop of blood technique. From then on, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body had reached the late stages of the 4th level. The 5th level would correspond to the void god realm, and the 6th level would correspond to the mystic light realm. The 7th level would allow one to form a demigod body. On the 7th level, the sacred lightning body had an additional 8th level compared to the original golden Kuan sacred body. There was even a theoretical 9th level. Higher prospects and possibilities were the biggest motivation for Zhao Feng to recultivate. Even without the cursed words of death, he would have chosen to recultivate. Who? Zhao Feng let out a breath and slowly stood up from the blood pool. The nearby members of the clan all looked at him with wary and respectful gazes. Zhao Feng, this is a rare dark soul stone from the underground city. It's a soul Dao treasure that specializes in the Dao of death. Old Fei took out 2 black, jade-like stones. The black, jade-like stones radiated a cold undulation of soul power. Normal people wouldn't be able to get close. Soul Dao treasure? Very good. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. Zhao Feng could take a step back in terms of the number of offerings, but he focused on the resources that were useful to him. Among them, Zhao Feng mentioned Soul Dao resources, and they were of a higher grade. Soul Dao treasures could help Zhao Feng recover his soul power. With enough Soul Dao treasures, my Emperor intent will be able to completely awaken. Zhao Feng was looking forward to it. One had to know that Zhao Feng's Emperor intent contained the laws of the God Tribulation Lightning. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to chase after the Emperor of Death, who specialized in the Tao of Death and the Soul. Once his Emperor intent completely recovered, Zhao Feng's strength would increase dramatically. However, Soul Dao treasures were extremely rare. The amount and quality that Zhao Feng dug up in the underground city weren't ideal. Shua! Right at this moment, a silver streak flashed and landed in front of Zhao Feng. It was Nangongsheng. Zhao Feng, I've killed the Scorpion Man King and obtained the crystal core of the purple wind lightning lion. Nangongsheng's breathing quickened. Chapter 801. You got the crystal core of a king. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up. Nangongsheng was very straightforward as a dark purple crystal core the size of a goose egg appeared in his hand. That's right. Zhao Feng took the crystal core of a king and nodded his head with joy. The nearby elites of the 3 sects all had envious eyes when they saw the crystal core. Although the crystal core was small, it had its own dimension of true yuan and was comparable to the crystal core of a void god realm king. More importantly, this crystal core was of the element of wind lightning, and it was extremely compatible with the wind lightning technique that Zhao Feng cultivated. With this crystal core, Zhao Feng's cultivation would be able to increase dramatically. The only thing lacking was that this crystal core lacked the element of water. Otherwise, Zhao Feng could just sit there and cultivate. Nangongsheng, I will fulfill my promise and help you obtain the evil god pearl. Zhao Feng said. Nangongsheng nodded his head. He had traded with Zhao Feng before, so he trusted him. After speaking, the two walked next to the blood pond and looked at the evil god crystal on the silver pillar. The evil god crystal was purple and had a layer of blood on its surface. It radiated a wicked power that could bewitch one's heart and blood. Nan Gongsheng, before we start, I need to say a few things. Zhao Feng said. Go ahead. Nan Gongsheng stared at the evil god crystal and didn't hide the heat in his eyes. The evil god crystal wasn't a substandard god crystal. It contained the power of a god at the heavenly divine realm. The only difference was, the evil god crystal had a wicked nature and the power to affect the outside world. Zhao Feng warned, firstly, there's a lot of danger in obtaining the evil god crystal. Secondly, the power of the god crystal is too strong. It has the ability to affect the outside world and living beings. The wicked nature it contains is immeasurable. Nan Gongsheng knew the first point very well, and the second point that Zhao Feng emphasized also caused him to ponder. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if he obtained the evil god crystal, he could still be affected and twisted by its power and evil nature. At this moment, Gu Chaoji of Earth Spirit Hall arrived after hearing the news. Let Nan Gongsheng get the wind lightning crystal core first. However, it's not like I have no chance at all. Gu Chaoji stood in the corner, secretly watching. He had heard the conversation between Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng very clearly. Obviously, the evil god crystal wasn't something that just anyone could control. At least, Zhao Feng didn't want this hot potato for the time being. I've decided. Nan Gongsheng took a deep breath as decisiveness filled his eyes. This decision was within Zhao Feng's expectations. From Nan Gongsheng's eyes, he could see a stubborn pursuit of power. Zhao Feng, you've already surpassed me by too much. For a time, I could only look up to your legendary footsteps. As for the evil god crystal, it will be an opportunity to change my fate. Battle intent flashed through Nan Gongsheng's eyes. He had complex feelings for Zhao Feng. They were both geniuses of the same generation, and Zhao Feng had stepped onto the peak of the Tsang Ocean step by step and became an unrivaled emperor. Even Mystic Light Realm sacred lords were wary of him. Hearing that, Gu Chaoji, Kong Failing, the purple-robed youth, and the other peerless geniuses were stunned. This Zhao Feng, what kind of existence is he? Even someone as strong as Nan Gongsheng could only look up to his legendary footsteps. The hearts of the experts of the three sects shook. The strength that Nan Gongsheng displayed was enough to enter the top 100 of the Great Gan Imperial Genius rankings. However, even a genius like that could only look up to Zhao Feng's footsteps. At this moment in time, the handsome team beside the blood pool seemed to be shrouded in layers of mystery. How was this possible? Old Fei, Kong Failing, Lu Tianfan, Huang Yunhu, and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan were dazed. Even Gu Chaoji of the Three-Star Sect, Earth Spirit Hall, had cold sweat on his forehead. At this moment, he felt that this Zhao Feng was too mysterious and terrifying. Gu Chaoji couldn't help but feel lucky that he didn't attack Zhao Feng earlier. I can only promise that I'll do my best to help you obtain the evil god crystal. Zhao Feng let out a light sigh. Junior Martial Brother Zhao, I believe that you can do it. Apparently, you even revived the demigod Kuan-Yin. Nan Gongsheng said in a testing tone. What? Demigod Kuan-Yin? He appeared so quickly? This time, it was Zhao Feng's turn to be surprised. Nan Gongsheng nodded his head and said, the demigod Kuan-Yin has revived and regained control of the demigod Forgotten Garden. He's also come to an agreement with the true martial sacred land. He was just testing Zhao Feng. After all, the revival of the demigod Kuan-Yin was just a rumor. Zhao Feng didn't seem to deny it. Demigod, the disciples and elites of the three sects couldn't help but take in a cold breath. From the looks of it, Zhao Feng seemed to have single-handedly revived a demigod. How shocking was this? Demigod Kuan-Yin. Old Fei's face was filled with shock. He seemed to know some legends about the demigod Kuan-Yin. Demigod-level experts seemed to have only appeared in the other 3- and 4-star sections. The demigod Kuan Yin from the past wasn't just strong. His fame even spread to the 3-star and 4-star sects of the continent zone. This legendary figure seemed to have been revived by Zhao Feng. Next, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng quickly communicated with their divine senses. Zhao Feng understood that the demigod Kuan Yin had used a special technique to enter the demigod Forgotten Garden and merge with the demigod Intent Within. Under such circumstances, even Mystic Light Realm sacred lords would find it hard to enter. Of course, the demigod Kuan Yin was still resting, and it would take some time for him to recover his peak demigod strength. After understanding this, Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief. The child demigod definitely didn't know that Zhao Feng had revived, and he still had to be wary of the left-eyed heavenly emperor at his peak. Evil God's altar, next to the blood pond. Meow meow. The little thieving cat suddenly waved the staff in its hand, and the evil god crystal on the silver pillar released a bewitching purple and blood-colored light. You should do it. Zhao Feng was about to use his magnificent power, but he gave up in the end. He felt that Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain was better. Shua! Nan Gongsheng waved his hand, and a large amount of silver light formed a whirlpool that sucked away the blood essence within the blood pond. The blood essence was useful for now, and Nan Gongsheng would give it to Zhao Feng later. The first step is complete. Zhao Feng smiled and nodded his head. Extracting the blood essence from the blood pool was to further isolate the evil god crystal. This step required the little thieving cat, the priest, to communicate with the evil god crystal. Otherwise, under the influence of the evil god crystal, the blood pool would stir up trouble, and it would be quite troublesome. Rumble. Nan Gongsheng destroyed the soul altar amidst a cloud of dust. Instantly, the evil god crystal floated in the air, and the wicked power that interfered with the outside world was greatly reduced. At this moment in time, the disciples and elites of the Earth Spirit Hall, the 10,000 Sacred Clan, and the Purple Sun Palace all paid close attention to what was happening. If it was possible, they didn't mind participating. However, right now, no one dared to interfere with the combination of Zhao Feng, Nan Gongsheng, and the little thieving cat. Zhao Feng was extremely mysterious, and Gu Chaoji and company didn't dare to talk about it. We've reached the crucial step. Zhao Feng had a solemn expression. The next step was to restrain and then take the evil god crystal. This step was also the most dangerous. The difficulty lay in the fact that all hostile methods aimed at the evil god crystal would suffer a backlash. Zhao Feng's only advantage was that the little thieving cat had the evil god staff and the ability to communicate with the evil god crystal. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws, indicating that it couldn't stop the evil god crystal's backfire. Retrieve. Nan Gongsheng suddenly opened his palm, and a small whirlpool made of silver light appeared and started to slowly expand. A mysterious power appeared in the air and pulled on the evil god crystal. Wang, the evil god crystal, suddenly released a wicked power, and a wicked purple and blood-colored light shot toward Nan Gongsheng. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved the staff, but it only managed to weaken the evil god crystal's backfire. I have ice soul. A misty purple light suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye, and a cold blue light appeared. The handsome youth's purple hair started to flutter. I didn't think that Zhao Feng was hiding such a powerful eye bloodline. The nearby experts and disciples of the three sects were all shocked. In this instant, an extreme power of ice covered the evil god crystal. If it was a normal power that was built on heaven-earth yuan qi, the evil god crystal would instantly shatter. However, this time, Zhao Feng's eye of ice soul froze the evil god crystal. What it froze wasn't the evil god crystal itself, but the wicked nature at its core. Wicked nature was also a form of mental energy. Boom! The evil god crystal released a purple and blood-colored light that shot toward Zhao Feng. However, an invisible sacred body force appeared around Zhao Feng. The power released by the evil god crystal was extremely strong, and it suppressed the foundation of yuan qi. However, Zhao Feng's physical strength was unique, and his resistance was stronger. The strength of the evil god crystal's backfire depended on the target's hostility and threat. Peng, peng. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng weren't even able to last a breath or two before being sent flying. Luckily, with the little thieving cat's staff, the power of the evil god crystal's backfire weakened. It's working! Zhao Feng focused on the evil god crystal and saw a half-transparent layer of frost on its surface. No matter how strong the evil god crystal was, it was only reflected in the physical dimension. Zhao Feng's Eye of Ice soul restricted and froze the soul. From the looks of it, this ice soul-cold energy had a slight restraining effect on the evil nature within the evil god crystal. Nan Gongsheng revealed a joyful expression. He also saw hope. He took a deep breath, then floated in front of the evil god crystal and waved his hands. Amidst a burst of spatial fluctuations, a faint silvery spatial phantom appeared in the area where everyone was located. This was Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain. Wang, the deep, faint silver space, twisted strangely, forming a large silver hole. An extremely strong pulling force appeared at the entrance of the profound silver cave. Eye of Ice Soul. Zhao Feng circulated his eye bloodline power to the maximum and caused the frost on the surface of the evil god crystal to spread. Meow. The little thieving cat waved the staff in its hand and threw it into the silver mystic cave. The purple and blood-colored gem on the staff was connected to the evil god crystal. Furthermore, Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain also contained a pond of blood essence. The evil god crystal entered Nan Gongsheng's space domain with a whoosh as it was pulled by that huge force. Did it succeed? Nan Gongsheng spat out a mouthful of blood as he endured the backlash, but his face was filled with joy. However, an old voice sounded right at this moment. Stop! We can't take the evil god crystal away, or else it will bring disaster to the underground city and the divine illusion dimension. Chapter 802. Stop! The evil god crystal can't be taken away, or else it will bring disaster to the underground city and the divine illusion dimension. An old voice sounded from the entrance of the Snakeman's territory. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng paused and looked over. They seemed to have succeeded in getting the evil god crystal into Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain. As soon as he said that, at the entrance of the passage, an old serpent man hobbled over. This snakeman elder had white hair and wrinkles all over his face. He had a hunched back, and it was hard for him to walk. Everyone revealed weird expressions as they looked at the snakeman elder. Hee, old snakeman king that's about to step into the grave. Do you really think you can control where the evil god crystal goes? Zhao Feng smiled lightly. Hearing that, the crowd broke out into chaos. It was hard to imagine that this snakeman elder who couldn't even walk steadily was a void god realm king. Even Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji didn't notice this. I'm a former priest of the evil god realm. The snakeman elder's voice was hoarse as he gave a deep glance at the purple-haired, small, origin core realm youth. His life force and aura were extremely weak. Even in this situation, the opponent was still able to see through him with one glance. The hearts of Gu Chaoji and the elites of the three sects shook, and they became even more wary of Zhao Feng. This snakeman elder was the former priest of the evil god realm, so his cultivation was at least at the void god realm. No matter what, I won't give the evil god crystal away. What does the underground city survival have to do with me? Nan Gongsheng had an emotionless expression. He had paid a huge price to transfer the evil god crystal into his space domain with great difficulty. Old shaman, you risked your life just to stop us? Gu Chaoji seemed to be interested. Now that the evil god crystal was in Nan Gongsheng's hands, he didn't mind causing more trouble. Nan Gongsheng's eyebrows furrowed, but he also wanted to know more about the evil god crystal. My lifespan has reached its limit, so what does it matter if I die? However, there are some things that I must do. The white-haired priest said sorrowfully. At this moment, Zhao Feng, Nan Gongsheng, Gu Chaoji, and company all fell silent as they felt a sense of sorrow. They did not sympathize with the old priest. Instead, it was a reverence for the laws of life and death. As everyone knew, there was a limit to one's lifespan. For example, Void God Realm Kings had a lifespan of several thousand years. Once one reached the limit of one's lifespan, one's life and soul would gradually wither, and one would also step into death. This was a law that could not be changed even if one seized another's body and was reborn. Putting aside Void God Realm Kings, even Mystic Light Realm, Sacred Lords, and Demigods could only live longer, but they couldn't live forever. For example, Zhao Feng. His soul's lifespan wouldn't change much since he had reincarnated. Unless there was an external force like the immortal spring to extend one's lifespan or to break through to a higher realm. Of course, some peak ancient emperors, such as the Emperor of Death who was proficient in the soul of death, had a lifespan that was several times longer than others of the same rank. Everyone should know that there are often disasters in the underground city, such as lava and earth core fire. And the power of the evil god crystal can influence the eruption of a stable disaster. The white-haired old priest said slowly. Everyone present was strangely calm. This was because these were the words of an elder that was about to die. When a person was about to die, their words were kind. Could it be that this isn't a natural disaster? Zhao Feng realized something. After entering the underground city, he only knew that all the races respected the evil god's altar. Through the evil god crystal, the evil god priest did indeed have the ability to control natural disasters. That's just the surface. The white-haired old priest took a deep breath and said solemnly, "Only the evil god priests and a small number of people know that there's an even bigger disaster underground." An even bigger disaster? The elites of the three sects all felt an unusual atmosphere. Right at this moment, everyone felt a tremor come from the depths of the evil god's altar. Pung, pung. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye twitched. At this moment, Zhao Feng and Kong Feiling's imperial Dao bloodlines instinctively trembled in fear. What kind of aura could make their imperial Dao bloodlines fear? Do you feel it? The white-haired old priest had a bitter expression, and his eyes were filled with worry. What's underground? The elites of the three sects all felt uneasy. Faintly, there seemed to be an aura of calamity brewing bit by bit. You should know that there's a race in the top 10 of the 10,000 ancient races called the Destruction Dragon Race. The white-haired old priest said, "Destruction Dragon Race." The hearts of Zhao Feng, Nan Gongsheng, Gu Chaoji, and company shook. Ranked 9th of the 10,000 ancient races, the Destruction Dragon Race. Old Fei exclaimed. An aura of fear spread through everyone's hearts. Ranked 8th of the 10,000 ancient races is the Golden Crow Race, and ranked 9th is the Destruction Dragon Race. The elites present all came from 2-star and 3-star families, so they obviously had a lot of experience. A race ranked in the top 10 of the 10,000 ancient races wasn't a joke. What a joke! If the Destruction Dragon Race was here, they would be able to destroy the divine illusion dimension with just one breath. A cold laugh came from a purple-haired handsome youth. The person who spoke was Zhao Feng. He had read the 10,000 ancient races ranking before, and he had a deep understanding of the unique traits, abilities, and battle power of each race. In reality, the 10,000 ancient races weren't ranked purely based on battle power. For example, the Heaven's Legacy race didn't have strong battle power, but their intelligence was unparalleled. The Heaven's Legacy race hunted the Light race, tried to create a time machine, and even had a plan to replicate the ancient races. However, the Destruction Dragon race was definitely a race that could destroy heaven and earth, and their battle power was shocking. The Golden Crow race, ranked 8th, only had one left in the fan universe, and it was the ancient Golden Crow. Its size was immeasurable, and it provided the entire fan universe with limitless light and heat. The Destruction Dragon race, ranked 9th, was said to be the nemesis of the Golden Crow race. According to what Zhao Feng knew, this race was born to destroy. Their ultimate goal was to destroy the entire world. Old Snake, how dare you lie to us? Some of the disciples and elites of the three sects let out a breath. Cold sweat appeared on Nan Gongsheng's forehead. A legendary race, like the Destruction Dragon race, was simply too terrifying. The white-haired priest smiled bitterly. The true Destruction Dragon race is already extinct. However, there's a black destruction serpent dragon sealed in the center of the earth, and it has a faint bloodline of the Destruction Dragon race flowing through its body. Hearing that, the hearts of the disciples of the three sects shook. So, there was a black destruction serpent dragon in the depths of the earth that contained a faint bloodline of the Destruction Dragon race. In the past, this black destruction serpent dragon was sealed by God. After countless years, although its strength isn't even 1% of its peak, the seal has loosened. The white-haired priest sighed. Boom! A faint tremor or heat came from beneath the evil god's altar. There seemed to be the roar of a dragon that had been suppressed for countless years. The flames of destruction wanted to return to the world and devour everything. The hearts of the disciples of the three sects jumped. An aura of destruction and fear spread. Pung! Pung! Zhao Feng felt his god's spiritual eye jump in warning. He was sure that the white-haired priest, someone who was about to die, wouldn't lie to them. Most of the disasters underground are caused by the struggles of the black destruction serpent dragon. The function of the evil god crystal is to calm disasters and stabilize the seal to a certain extent. The white-haired priest let out a breath. Speaking up to there, he sat down on the ground and explained everything. The eyes of Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng twinkled. I want hand over the evil god crystal. The one sealed there isn't a true destruction dragon, so it's not invincible. Furthermore, it's not even at its peak. Nan Gongsheng was very straightforward. He didn't care about the lives and deaths of the underground races at all. The pinnacle of power was what he pursued. Priest, you're too late. We finally managed to move the evil god crystal away. It'll be very difficult to get it back now. Zhao Feng shook his head and sighed. He had communicated with the little thieving cat on his shoulder. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws, and a staff appeared in its hand. The purple and blood-colored gem on it had cracked. Previously, the reason they were able to take the evil god crystal away was because the blood pond and the staff were both in Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain. Zhao Feng's methods and Nan Gongsheng's spatial techniques were just a start. The two of them were just there to support it. More accurately speaking, Nan Gongsheng hadn't obtained the evil god crystal yet. He only managed to put it into his spatial domain through the efforts of a few people. And now, it was already too late to retrieve the evil god crystal. You. The white-haired priest paused, and his face was filled with sorrow. He didn't expect those outsiders to have the ability to take the evil god crystal. When he arrived, it was already too late. I'm very sorry. Please rest in peace. Zhao Feng said regretfully and sympathetically. Wah! The white-haired priest let out a breath. His life had come to an end. In a last instant, the white-haired priest's soul and flesh started to burn, and he released a magnificent power close to the emperor level. Not good. The disciples and elites of the three sects felt suffocated. Even Nan Gongsheng and Gu Chaoji's expressions changed dramatically. Did this white-haired priest want to die with everyone? Only Zhao Feng didn't panic. All races in the underground city immediately retreat from the underground world. The calamity is about to arrive. The white-haired priest's sorrowful voice spread to every corner of the underground world. Before he died, the priest used the last of his power to tell the entire underground world. Zhao Feng felt some admiration, but he murmured, the evil god crystal can only delay the black destruction serpent dragon from breaking the seal. No matter how strong the evil god crystal was, it was just a crystal. It wasn't the core of the seal. It could only slow it down. Boom! Continuous trembling came from the underground world. Lava exploded in some areas, and earth fire wreaked havoc. Roar, a furious dragon roar that had been suppressed to the extreme, sounded from the depths of the ground. This world will tremble under the rage of the destruction race. Ancient God Xieyong, I will first destroy your palace, and then devour your world domain. Chapter 803. Boom! The underground world started to shake as lava and earth fire surged out from the depths of the earth. Some races weren't able to react in time, even though the priest had warned them before they died. This world will tremble under the rage of the destruction dragon race. Ancient God Seong, I will first destroy your palace, and then devour your world domain. A shocking voice sounded from the depths of the earth. The roar of a dragon spread across the entire underground world, and even the surface world started to tremble. Retreat. Not good. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon is about to break out of the seal. The elites of the three sects were in a panic as they searched for their own underground tunnels and fled to the outskirts of the city. Shua. Nan Gongxing's speed was the fastest. He turned into a streak of silver light and charged into the area one level above the underground world. Lightning wings, flying technique. A pair of water blue wings unfurled behind Zhao Feng's back, and with a flap, he flew away. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng were nowhere to be seen. The two of them reacted the fastest. Junior martial brother Zhao. Lu Tianfan and company couldn't help but exclaim as they watched Nan Gongsheng and Zhao Feng disappear. Ignore him. Let's leave the underground world first. Old Fei gave the order and led the way. The elites of Earth Spirit Hall and the Purple Sun Palace quickly found a tunnel and retreated to the surface world. In just a short while, the surging magma came raging over. If it was just the power of the lava, it wouldn't pose much of a threat to the elites. However, the bottom races of the underground world were the ones that were in trouble. However, the lava contained the Earth Core flame, and even a normal one could turn an Origin Core realm into ashes. The more powerful Earth Core flame could even threaten Void God Realm kings. From the looks of it, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon will need some time to charge out of the Earth's core. Gu Chaoji from Earth Spirit Hall murmured. The vibrations and collisions from the Earth's core came one after another. One could roughly estimate the situation of the Earth's core based on the frequency of the collisions and the situation of the underground city. You guys leave the underground city first. Gu Chaoji ordered. There were several half-step kings from Earth Spirit Hall, and they were all experienced. Swoosh! Gu Chaoji moved in the direction of Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng like a sharp bolt of lightning. The evil god crystal was only temporarily moved to Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain. There are still some variables in this matter. Gu Chaoji had a plan in mind. In less than an hour, the disciples of the three sects retreated from the underground world at the cost of a few casualties. The surface world, in a barren desert, dust and sand whistled. Swoosh! Nan Gongsheng and Zhao Feng appeared in the desert. Zhao Feng, this is your blood pool. Nan Gongsheng used a spatial technique and transferred a pool of blood essence to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng nodded, but did not leave immediately. Junior brother Zhao, what are your plans? Nan Gongsheng asked. At this point, he indirectly guessed that Zhao Feng had encountered some kind of accident and obtained a new life. I have an idea, but I don't know if Senior Nangong dares to do it. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. The two started to communicate through divine senses. You want to get something from the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon? Nan Gongsheng couldn't help but take in a cold breath. Zhao Feng's idea was not just any ordinary daring. Danger and fortune exist together. Furthermore, I believe that Senior Brother Nangong will need a protector if he wants to control and use the evil god crystal. Zhao Feng said noncommittally. Nan Gongsheng's expression flickered, and he nodded his head after a moment of hesitation. Shua, Gu Chaoji of Earth Spirit Hall appeared near them and even took the initiative to greet them. Nan Gongsheng obviously knew that Gu Chaoji hadn't given up on the evil god crystal. However, right at this moment, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng officially formed an alliance and decided to explore the divine illusion dimension together. Gu Chaoji's heart shook when he saw that Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng's expressions were getting closer. One Nan Gongsheng was already so strong. If the unfathomable Zhao Feng was added on, he had no chance of winning at all. Seeing this, Gu Chaoji had no choice but to retreat for the time being. Zhao Feng, Junior martial brother Zhao, Old Fei, Kong Failing, and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan arrived. Old Fae, everyone, quickly leave and avoid the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Zhao Feng quickly warned. His god spiritual, I had also inspected the situation underground. From the vibrations, it wasn't too late for the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon to see the light of day again. Zhao Feng, you? The expressions of Kong failing, Lu Tianfan, and company changed slightly. I still have other things to do with Nan Gongsheng. We'll meet again if fate allows it. Zhao Feng said straightforwardly. After saying that, he and Nan Gongsheng floated away and merged into the sand. This Zhao Feng doesn't have any sense of teamwork at all. He's going alone and doesn't care if we live or die. Those from the 10,000 Sacred Clan said unhappily. Only Old Faye's expression remained the same as he sighed. Maybe we'll drag him down. Just pretend that he's still a normal, small origin core realm disciple. When they split up underground, he could tell that Zhao Feng wanted to leave the group and team up with Nan Gongsheng. Hearing that, no one complained anymore. If Zhao Feng was just a normal, small origin core realm, then it didn't matter if he was in the group or not. Thinking about it that way, they felt better. Boom! As time passed, the vibrations from underground became stronger and stronger. Those from the 10,000 Sacred Clan hurried and tried to leave the source of the trembling. Those from the Earth Spirit Hall and the Purple Sun Palace also retreated in different directions. About 4 hours later, boom! The underground world started to crumble, and the screams of countless beings could be heard. The earth split open into a huge ravine that resembled a long river. Lava spewed out of the ground, and an aura that could destroy heaven and earth surged out. In that instant, within a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers, countless living beings and foreign geniuses and elites all felt a suffocating, destructive aura. Woo! Amidst the heaven-shaking roar of a dragon, the earth trembled, and lava and underground fire erupted. Who, from the magma, a 5,000 feet long Jiao dragon flew out. Its eyes were deep and cold, and it was the size of a house. Its body was covered in ancient black scales. If one looked closely, they would see that the huge Jiao dragon's body was tied up with black chains that were as thick as buckets. As it flew, a series of clanking sounds could be heard. The large black-scaled serpent dragon left behind a large shadow that could be seen from 1,000 miles away. An aura that could destroy heaven and earth shook heaven and earth. With the black-scaled serpent dragon at the center, everything within several dozen thousand miles shook. In the desert, the legs of some of the disciples that had retreated far away started to tremble. The invisible dragon pressure and the bloodline aura of the destruction dragon race made all beings in heaven and earth instinctively tremble in fear. So strong. That's the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The hearts of the members of the three sects that had retreated jumped. Their instincts told them that the power of the black-scaled serpent dragon was even stronger than an emperor. Ants died. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon waved its claw, and a faint black wind swept across everything within 10 miles. Arg! Some of the underground races that had retreated to the surface were instantly destroyed. The rat men, werewolves, lizards, and other humans in the underground cities were instantly turned to dust by the faint black wind from the serpent dragon's claw. At every moment, there were lives and deaths of the underground races. Most of them died to the lava, and a small number were killed by the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. A bunch of ants. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's large body flashed past, and hundreds and thousands of underground races were crushed to death. Crack! The ground beneath the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's claw cracked, and it roared as lightning and clouds started to swirl. Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, the evil god will punish you. Some of the experts of the underground races that had fallen into despair started to fight back. A king-ranked giant leader led a group of great origin core realms and half-step void god elites toward the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The giant leader's body was 2 or 3 stories tall, and his defense was shocking. Whoosh! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's large tail whipped out, and the experts and elites of the underground races were crushed into meat paste. Crack! The king-ranked giant leader's body was also split into pieces. His defense was close to an emperor's, but he couldn't even take one blow from the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Who? The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon opened its mouth and spat out a faint black flame that turned the giant leader into dust. The flame it spat out didn't even seem to be its true origin, the Destruction Dragon flames. Roar! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon used its large and invincible body to slaughter the nearby underground races. Boom! Wherever the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon went was a disaster. The entire underground city was flattened. After venting its anger, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon stood silently in the air for a while. There were still a few underground races that were running away, but the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon didn't bother to kill them. Ding! Ding! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon suddenly struggled in the air and tried to use its large body to break the black chains that were as thick as water buckets. However, the black chains were made of a special material, and the more it struggled, the more powerless it became. These yuan sealing divine chains have restricted most of my power, and I can't even absorb the heaven-earth yuan chi. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon struggled to no avail. Ancient God Xieyang, your world has already been abandoned and abandoned. I'll go to your palace and find the key, recover my strength, and then destroy this world. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's angry roars continued to echo. Whoosh! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon suddenly turned into the image of a large black dragon and merged into the sky. In the desert, even though the experts and elites of the three sects were very far away, they could still sense what was going on. Perhaps the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon sensed these small dots, but it was too disdainful to kill them all. The battle just now was just a way to vent out its pent-up anger. Right now, its main focus was to remove the yuan sealing divine chains and break through its limits. Who? The experts and elites of the three sects let out long breaths as they sensed the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon leave. At the same time, in a hidden sand cave in the depths of the desert, whoosh, whoosh, two figures appeared on the surface. One was a youth in black clothes, and the other was a handsome youth with purple hair. Zhao Feng, are you really planning on following the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon? Nan Gongxing's heart was filled with fear. There's no need to get close. We just need to follow its destructive aura. This Black Destruction Serpent Dragon can definitely touch the core secrets of the divine illusion dimension. Zhao Feng had a calm expression, and his eyes twinkled. Chapter 804. In front of the cave, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng whispered to each other. Nan Gongsheng was surprised by Zhao Feng's bold idea. Follow the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. They had seen the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's strength before, and it could even instantly kill Void God Realm Kings. Furthermore, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had been sealed for tens of thousands of years and was extremely weak. Its strength wasn't even 1% of its peak. Furthermore, on top of this, there was also the Origin Sealing Divine Chain, which further restricted and confined his strength. Once the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon recovered some of its strength, even a mystic light realm sacred lord would have to retreat. So, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng carefully followed the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon on the ground. They didn't dare to get too close. They maintained a distance of several thousand miles or even 10,000 miles. No matter what, safety was the most important. Luckily, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's aura shook everything within several dozen thousand miles. Heaven and earth changed color wherever it passed, and everything bowed down to it. It was very easy to sense it. Along the way, some of the geniuses and elites felt or even personally witnessed the power of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and their hearts shook. What no one knew was that there were two people following the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon from 10,000 miles away. However, reality and imagination were always different. At the start, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng were afraid of getting too close. However, they soon realized that the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's speed was becoming faster and faster. Maybe the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's limbs were a bit stiff when it first broke through the seal, so its speed increased after stretching. Slowly, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng found it hard to keep up. The divine illusion dimension was of a higher level, and the pressure of heaven and earth was stronger. Even flying through the air used more energy than the outside world. On the other hand, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's physical body was extremely strong, and it could easily travel through the air. Half a day later, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng lost track of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and they couldn't sense the destructive aura. Don't worry, we can follow its aura and follow it. Zhao Feng had a calm expression. Back in the day, he and the Emperor of Death had engaged in a long-lasting battle. In terms of tracking, Zhao Feng had some experience. Because of the advantage of the god's spiritual eye, it was his forte. Even if the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's aura was no longer present, Zhao Feng could still use the traces left behind to get a general direction. The two of them simply stabilized their speed. Green trees appeared in the air and turned into spikes that instantly pierced through the earth elemental spatial domain of the middle-aged elder in yellow robes. Wah! The middle-aged elder in yellow robes spat out a mouthful of blood, and the spatial domain that he had created for many years almost crumbled. This Xian Wuheng has clearly just reached the early-stage Void God realm, but he's able to control spatial domains so easily. What kind of monster is he? Around the lake, the members of the 2-star and 3-star sects who had been waiting for an opportunity were deeply shocked. Have you realized that Xian Wuheng has only used one hand from beginning to end? The eyes of a pretty female in a rainbow-colored dress twinkled. Indeed, Xian Wuheng had one hand behind his back as he faced the 3 kings with the other. As expected of a genius ranked 39th on the Imperial Genius rankings, Xian Wuheng's true strength is probably even higher than his ranking. An elder at the half-step king couldn't help but exclaim, "Pung! Boom!" Xian Wuheng and the 3 kings exchanged a few blows, and there were close to 10 half-step kings nearby that fought from afar. Facing all of this, Xian Wuheng's expression was as calm as a lake, and he only used one hand to fight back. Bam! 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 The figures of the 3 kings were suddenly pushed back by a weird 5-colored spatial domain. Xian Wuheng, you win. The youth in green wiped away the blood from his mouth. The battle had reached this point. Xian Wuheng probably hadn't even used his full strength. Everyone accepted their defeat. Xian Wuheng smiled faintly. Then this blue crystal tear is mine. The blue crystal tear wasn't a normal resource. It could increase the strength of one's state of existence and soul at the same time. With this blue crystal tear, Xian Wuheng's cultivation at the early stage Void God realm would become even stronger. Right at this moment, something unexpected happened. In the distant sky, an earth-shattering aura of destruction surged over. At this instant, shocking scenes appeared in heaven and earth. Dark clouds rolled, and wind and lightning intertwined. A strong tremor came from the ground, and lava started to erupt. What is that aura? The elites of the 2-star and 3-star forces felt an instinctive fear and uneasiness in their bodies and souls. As time passed, the aura of destruction became stronger and stronger, and it was accompanied by a terrifying draconic bloodline from the ancient era. The bloodline of the dragon race? Such a powerful aura of destruction. Xian Wuheng's eyebrows jumped. Everyone looked into the distance and could faintly see a large black figure in the shape of a dragon. Everything was destroyed wherever it went. Not good. Xian Wuheng seemed to see something, and his figure blurred as he dove into the forest near the lake. A while later, the figure of an enormous black-scaled dragon approached the forest. These ants from the outside world. The black destruction serpent dragon had a disdainful expression as it waved its claw. Whoosh! A faint black tornado instantly expanded to 10 miles, dozens of miles, 100 miles, several hundred miles. Run! What kind of terrifying being is this? This black destruction serpent dragon seems to have the bloodline of the destruction dragon race. The disciples and elites of the 2-star and 3-star forces scattered in all directions so that they wouldn't be caught by the black destruction serpent dragon in one fell swoop. In their vision, large tracts of the endless forest were turned into ashes. A large number of beasts and rare beasts died in this disaster. A small number of clan members didn't manage to escape in time and died as well. Whoosh! The large dragon-shaped figure flashed across the area. From the looks of it, the black destruction serpent dragon was just destroying everything in front of it and didn't pay any attention to these little things. Half a day later, on a mound in the depths of the divine illusion dimension, boom, boom, a few hill monsters that were as large as mountains were attacking a handsome and elegant young man. These mountain monsters were similar to the ones that Zhao Feng had met in the Floating Crest Palace, but they were several to 10 times bigger, and their auras were even more ancient and profound. The battle power of each mountain king is close to a peak-tier king, and their defense is monstrous. The elegant youth's eyebrows furrowed slightly. Every hill king had a powerful gravitational field, and any target that approached it would be affected by the gravitational field. Some kings that had just reached the Void God realm would find it hard to even take a single step when facing the mountain kings, let alone fight. Furthermore, the elegant youth was currently being attacked by 4 or 5 mountain monsters. Chaos God technique, mark of heaven. The elegant young man let out a light shout, his 2 fingers drawing in the air. In the next instant, dozens of cracks appeared in the air and stacked on top of each other. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, the nearby mountain kings were torn into pieces by the cracks in the air. At the same time, a scarlet-red head appeared in the dark brown hills in the distance. The scarlet-red head was covered in scales and had a pair of horns. Its bead-like eyes stared at the elegant youth in front of it. This Xian Yuan, one is indeed worthy of being a peerless prodigy of the 4-star sky suspension palace. He has already comprehended an incomplete heaven-grade divine skill at such a young age. The scarlet-red head murmured in a low tone. Shua. After killing these massive mountain giants, Xian Yuan collected their mountain cores and continued to explore. I'm almost at the core of the divine illusion dimension, ancient God's mysterious palace. Xian Yuan looked forward and took a deep breath. As the favored son of a distant 4-star sect, the secrets he knew were even better than those of ordinary forces. Luckily, the divine illusion dimension had connected to the core of the divine illusion dimension and placed it near the continent zone. Right at this moment, a dragon pressure that could destroy heaven and earth appeared from the other side of the clouds. The invisible dragon pressure shook everything within tens of thousands of miles. Even someone with Xian Yuan's bloodline and strength felt his heart tremble. What a terrifying aura! What? Its target seems to be the ancient God's mysterious palace as well. Chapter 805. Its target seems to be the ancient mysterious mansion as well. Xian Yuan looked at the black destruction serpent dragon as it charged toward the depths of the divine illusion dimension. Wherever the black serpent dragon went, powerful astral winds of destruction destroyed all things. Countless living beings trembled and wailed. Even someone as strong as Xian Yuan felt oppressed by the colossal destruction dragon might, not daring to approach. All of a sudden, a pondering look appeared on Xian Yuan's handsome face. The ancient God's mysterious palace in the divine illusion dimension was a secret that very few people knew about. This time, the area where the divine illusion dimension overlapped with the continent was the center of the divine illusion dimension. Otherwise, normal paths wouldn't be able to reach the ancient God's mysterious palace. However, at this very moment, The sudden appearance of the Black Destruction serpent dragon had disrupted Xian Yuan's plans for the ancient god's mysterious palace. This way, the secret of the ancient god's mysterious abode would definitely not be hidden from those who were interested. The Black Destruction serpent dragon's aura was too great, and it would definitely alarm many people. There are gains and losses. Xian Yuan quickly smiled in relief. With this black serpent dragon as the vanguard, we might be able to disrupt the rules and God's forbidden formation in the ancient God's mysterious mansion. Kacha! He took out a strange talisman and crushed it. A strong but hidden ripple spread to other parts of the divine illusion dimension. Normal methods of communication were restricted in the divine illusion dimension, but there were still some special items. Afterward, Xian Yuan leaped up and followed the black serpent dragon. Meanwhile, on the other side of the divine illusion dimension, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng continued to travel at a leisurely pace and would occasionally take a break. The black serpent dragon's speed was getting faster and faster. In the end, it easily reached the level of a martial emperor. The two of them couldn't keep up. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's tracking methods were extremely brilliant. He was not afraid of losing the black flood dragon at all. In fact, the black serpent dragon was simply unbridled as it flew through the air. Most people with tracking experience will be able to easily keep up with it. As expected, the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi is getting denser. We're getting closer to the core of the divine illusion dimension. Zhao Feng looked ahead. Over the past couple of days, the beasts he and Nan Gongsheng had encountered had become stronger and stronger. Of course, there were many fortuitous encounters along the way. Occasionally, they would even see the traces of outsiders. The range of the divine illusion dimension was very large. There were at least a few hundred two-star sects in the continent's dynasties, as well as the major forces in the surrounding seas. This was a very conservative figure, and it did not include some aristocratic families. Of course, there were very few factions that could send kings. Ordinary three-star sects or the 8 great clans had a higher chance of doing so. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng landed on a hill and started to recover. In order to deal with the dangers in the divine illusion dimension, the two didn't want to expend too much Yuan Qi. The two of them had their backs to each other. Rather than saying that they were recuperating, it was more accurate to say that they were cultivating. Zhao Feng took out the purple wind lightning lion's king crystal core and sat down to recover and cultivate the 5-elemental 10,000 lightning technique. This divine stump dimension had retained its original appearance from the ancient times. Its vital energy was extremely abundant, and its cultivation effects were far superior to the outside world. On the way, Zhao Feng's God Spiritual, I found some ancient resources that were already extinct in the outside world. At this moment, with the help of the Wind Lightning Crystal Core, Zhao Feng's cultivation could be felt increasing bit by bit. The Wind Lightning Crystal Core contained a true Yuan dimension of wind lightning, and it was extremely pure. This crystal core was a rare element of wind lightning, and it was very compatible with Zhao Feng. In just a short while, Zhao Feng's Yuan Qi recovered, and the size and quality of the core within his body increased. I still need some time to break through to the Great Origin Core Realm. Zhao Feng started to think. After all, the Origin Core Realm was a long process of accumulating energy. Zhao Feng's 5-elemental wind lightning technique was not a normal technique. After thinking about it, Zhao Feng decided to change his path of cultivation. He no longer pursued quantity. He focused on the quality of his true Yuan. Within his dantian, the crystallization of Zhao Feng's core became more and more obvious, and a faint glow appeared on its surface. I'll first raise the strength of my crystal core, true Yuan, to the Great Origin Core Realm. Zhao Feng had a goal. The reason he did this was to accumulate explosive power in the divine illusion dimension. In order to speed up this process, Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm. Shua! Zhao Feng's consciousness merged into the small whirlpool in the center of his soul sea. In the next instant, he stepped onto an ancient land, and an ancient aura surged over. The pressure here was even stronger than the divine illusion dimension. However, with Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body, he could still easily walk around. There were a few spiritual fruits on the trees in the center of the forest, and most of them were at least 70 to 80% ripe. The azure spotted python and the ancient demonic bird obediently guarded the area. Zhao Feng picked a ripe ancient dream realm spiritual fruit and bit into it before eating it. The ancient dream realm spiritual fruit was extremely useful to the body and bloodline. Back when the child demigod was a king, a few ancient dream realm spiritual fruits were enough to increase his sacred body's cultivation. However, the ancient dream realm spiritual fruit was hard to digest and absorb. Otherwise, Zhao Feng wouldn't have eaten the ancient dream realm spiritual fruit so late. His consciousness returned to the divine illusion dimension. Nan Gongsheng was cultivating behind Zhao Feng, and wisps of the power of the evil god crystal appeared in his spatial domain. Zhao Feng found that Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain and the evil god crystal were merging with each other. The evil god crystal was the core, and its wicked power eroded Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain and merged into his crystal core. While Nan Gongsheng was cultivating, wisps of purple light started to shine from the silver light around him. Faintly, a crescent-shaped purple symbol appeared on Nan Gongsheng's forehead, like the mark of the evil god. As Nan Gongsheng breathed, the heaven-earth Yuan Qi nearby trembled as if they were worshipping a god. As expected of the evil god crystal, Nan Gongsheng is getting stronger and stronger. I just don't know if he can truly control this power. Zhao Feng thought. Of course, after eating the ancient dream realm spiritual fruit and the king-level wind lightning crystal core, the increase in his cultivation was even more shocking. In just half a day, Zhao Feng's body and bloodline had obviously become stronger. His golden Kuan sacred lightning body had reached the late stages of the 4th level, and he wasn't far from the peak 4th level. This was only because he had only digested a portion of the ancient dream realm's spiritual fruit's effects. Boom! Zhao Feng was situated in a dark blue whirlpool of water and lightning, and the water of wind, lightning, Yuan Qi in heaven and earth roared and shook. In the sky above the hillside where the two of them were, there was a large thunderstorm. That kind of power could be clearly felt within a radius of 100 miles. My 5-elemental wind lightning technique has broken through to the 6th level. Joy appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The 1st to 3rd levels of the 5-elemental wind lightning technique were the foundations of wind lightning. The 4th to 6th levels were the foundations of the first 5-elemental wind lightning. And now, Zhao Feng's first water of wind lightning had reached the late stages of the 6th level. I'll be able to create the 2nd element of wind lightning from the next level, the 7th level, the wood of wind lightning. Zhao Feng was looking forward to it. The 5-elemental wind lightning technique connected the 5 elements and was extremely profound. Every element of wind lightning that was formed didn't just increase one's strength. It also meant that one's strength would increase. Furthermore, every element of wind lightning that was formed would increase one's resistance to the element of the sacred lightning body. For example, right now, Zhao Feng had cultivated the water of wind lightning and started to refine his body. His sacred lightning body had a strong resistance against the elements of ice and water. Within his dantian, Zhao Feng's pill core had almost completely crystallized, and it gave off a translucent feeling. Now, apart from the difference in quantity, the strength of Zhao Feng's true yuan wasn't much different from a great origin core realm. Adding on the sacred lightning body and the wind lightning technique, his battle power was comparable to a half-step void god realm. This was even without considering his god spiritual eye, bloodline power, and some other hidden cards. Let's go. Zhao Feng got up first. There was still more than half of the ancient dream realm spiritual fruit left in his body, and he could slowly digest it. Once he completely absorbed the ancient dream realm spiritual fruit, Zhao Feng's golden Kuan sacred lightning body would reach the peak of the 4th level. At that time, Zhao Feng would be able to crush normal, half-step void god realms with just his physical body alone. Who? Nin Gongsheng let out a long breath and got up unwillingly. The evil god crystal had strengthened his domain and crystal core, and the increase in strength it brought was intoxicating. Sung. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng left the hill and continued to chase after the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The two had only flown a couple dozen miles when the sound of battle came from a ruined city. Whoosh! Among them, a faint white beam of light shot out from the direction of the ruins. Chase after her. That Yao girl from the Dark Moon Lord dynasty stole the soul-stabilizing pearl and the heart-nourishing soulwood. More than 20 figures chased from the ruined city. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng couldn't help but stop and watch. Along the way, the two of them had also seen some battles between outsiders. However, there were several hundred people gathered in the ruined city. This was the first time they had seen something like this. Only a portion of the peak elites were chasing after them. Whoosh! A non-human female with transparent cicada wings could be faintly seen within the white beam of light. Her speed was shocking, and her aura had reached the Void God Realm. There were 2 Void God Realm kings chasing after her. The rest were either late-stage or peak Great Origin Core realms at the half-step Void God Realm. Fellow Taoists, please stop that Yao girl from the Dark Moon Lord dynasty. A young king in ancient armor behind him roared. The speed of the cicada-winged woman's silhouette was a level higher than that of the people behind her. In terms of speed, no one present could compare to her. If Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng took action, they might be able to stop her. This female seems to have some sort of treasure on her. Leave her behind. A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, he punched out. Seeing a small Origin Core realm youth attack her, the cicada-winged female revealed a look of disdain. However, her expression changed dramatically the next instant. Boom! This punch contained the power of a mountain, and it could instantly kill normal Great Origin Core realms. The cicada-winged female was fast and light, but her physical body was her weakness. Because she underestimated her opponent and was caught off guard, the cicada-winged female's body shook in the air, and her blood boiled. She was almost injured. Right at this moment, Chua, a bewitching silver light with a hint of purple flashed toward the cicada-winged female. Spatial technique. The expression of the cicada-winged female changed dramatically as she realized that these two weren't normal. This was especially true for Nan Gongsheng. A spatial domain with a hint of purple and silver radiated a wicked power that made her heart shake. Young masters, please spare me. I'll give you my treasures. The cicada-winged female begged. Chapter 806. Young masters, please spare me. I'll just give you some treasures. The cicada-winged demonic woman's face was as red as a peach. She looked very charming as she begged pitifully. She was at the early stages of the Void God Realm, and her strength wasn't bad. Her bloodline gave her incredible speed. However, because she underestimated Nan Gongsheng, she didn't even have time to react before she fell into Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain and had to face Zhao Feng's powerful sacred body. Nan Gongsheng's domain was a rare spatial technique. Once one fell into it, it would be very difficult to escape. Now that he had merged with the evil god crystal, Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain's power and restriction had surpassed common sense. The cicada Yao knew that she wouldn't be able to escape once she fell into it. Zhao Feng, what should we do with this Yao woman? Nan Gongsheng asked in a questioning tone. At this moment in time, the three were in a silver and purple spatial blur, and they were almost completely sealed off from the outside world. The cicada Yao woman was extremely surprised. Nan Gongsheng had to ask the purple-haired handsome youth's opinion despite his strength. It was as if the purple-haired youth was the leader. She's just a non-human Yao woman. Just kill her. Zhao Feng's tone was emotionless. A strong murderous intent flickered in their eyes at the same time. The cicada-winged demonic woman only felt a chill envelop her entire body. The two people she had encountered were clearly people who were decisive in killing. Kill. A layer of silver-blue metal glittered around Zhao Feng's body, and the surroundings became heavy as his fist punched toward the cicada Yao woman. Boom! The cicada Yao woman felt a terrifying physical force slam into her body, and she almost instantly spat out a mouthful of blood. It wasn't that she couldn't fight back, it was that she couldn't circulate her magnificent power in Nan Gongxing's spatial domain, and her true yuan was restricted. Her race specialized in speed, but their bodies weren't very strong. Not good. The cicada Yao woman's body shook as she was injured. Before she could react, she felt a life-threatening danger. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A silver-purple spatial blade appeared in Nan Gongxing's palm and instantly sliced the cicada Yao woman into dozens of pieces. Near the ruined ancient city, Arg, as the cicada-winged demonic woman screamed in agony, bloody pieces of flesh fell from the sky. In the distance, the ancient armored monarch and the others who were chasing after them couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. All they saw was Zhao Feng and Nan Gongxing attacking, and in just 2 or 3 breaths, the cicada-winged demonic woman was sliced into pieces. In midair, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongxing started to collect the spoils of war from the cicada-winged demonic woman. The spoils of war from a void god realm king were obviously extraordinary. However, most of them were useless to Zhao Feng. On the other hand, the cicada-winged demoness had just obtained the soul-calming pearl and the heart-nourishing soulwood. The soul-calming pearl was a legendary soul armament used to stabilize one's mind. With this pearl, one could avoid many mental illusions and soul path secret techniques. It could even expel one's inner demons and help in condensing one's will. In terms of value, this soul-calming pearl was close to the heaven-locking bow and the universe sword. However, Zhao Feng was interested in the heart-nourishing soulwood. This soulwood could nourish and strengthen the soul, and it was extremely effective for void god realms. Both the soul-calming pearl and the heart-nourishing soulwood were extremely tempting for those below the sacred lord realm. Nan Gongxing, your personality seems to be affected by the evil god crystal. This soul-calming pearl is suitable for you. The heart-nourishing soulwood can help me recover my soul power and intent. Zhao Feng said. As god spiritual, I didn't need the soul-calming pearl. On the other hand, Nan Gongxing's bloodlust and killing just now didn't seem like his personality. Although Nan Gongxing was decisive, he didn't like killing. Sure, Nan Gongxing understood Zhao Feng's good intentions. He could also feel the wicked power within the evil god crystal affecting him. Nan Gongxing immediately put on the soul-calming pearl and felt a cool sensation pass into his soul intent. His eyes became much clearer. Zhao Feng nodded his head. He wasn't strong enough in the divine illusion dimension, and Nan Gongxing was a strong ally. The heart-nourishing soulwood wasn't bad either. It could speed up the recovery of Zhao Feng's soul power and intent. Zhao Feng estimated that this piece of heart-nourishing soulwood could allow his soul to recover to the level of an early stage or middle stage void god realm. At that time, his emperor intent wouldn't be too far away from awakening. However, right now wasn't the time to use this soulwood. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sound of flying sounded from the distance. It was the 20-some people that had chased after them from the ruins of the ancient city. The leaders were a youth in ancient armor and a purple-haired girl. Both of them were void god realm kings. The youth in ancient armor was a domain-level king. That purple-haired girl was a king tier of the new generation. She was extremely beautiful, and her flowing purple hair made her look even more dreamy and noble. I am Chao Yun, and I come from the Chao family, one of the 8 big families. May I ask where you two come from? The youth in ancient armor said, while clasping his hands. He was wary of Zhao Feng and Nan Gongxing's speed in killing the demoness just now. One of the 8 big families, the Chao family. Zhao Feng's heart shook. Each of the 8 big families of the Great Gon Lord dynasty was comparable to a 3-star power or even stronger, and they had deep roots in the Lord dynasty. Jilan, a disciple of the Ji family, one of the 8 big families. The 2 of you stole the prey we were chasing. Shouldn't you give us an explanation? The purple-haired girl's eyes started to glow with a faint purple light. Zhao Feng's heart moved as he realized that the purple-haired girl, Jilan, had a unique eye bloodline. Both of them come from one of the 8 big families. Nan Gongsheng didn't dare to underestimate them. Before connecting to the divine illusion dimension, the seniors of the mystic true sacred clan had told him about the forces of the Lord dynasties. Any one of the 8 big families was stronger than the 3-star mystic true sacred clan that he was from. Seeing Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng remain silent, the youth in ancient armor, Chao Yun, revealed a smile. He was sure that the forces or families these two came from couldn't be compared to the 8 big families. How about this? Hand over the soul-calming pearl and the heart-nourishing soulwood. We won't ask about the other spoils of war. Chao Yun smiled faintly and said. The purple-haired girl, Jilan, pursed her lips and didn't say anything, as if she was unsatisfied. Oomph. So what if a prince of the great Gone Lord dynasty comes personally? I don't have the habit of spitting out the meat I eat. Zhao Feng smiled in disdain. Hearing that, the expressions of Chao Yun and Jilan changed dramatically, and the group behind them broke out into chaos. Arrogant brat, you're just a measly small origin core realm. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Brat, do you dare to tell us which force you're from? Zhao Feng's words made the elites of the other families feel disgusted. Chao Yun's expression was grim, but he felt that this Zhao Feng was confident, but at the same time, he couldn't see through him. It was also this purple-haired youth who attacked first to kill the cicada-winged demonic woman. Let me see what you're made of. Jilan snickered coldly. Who? Her beautiful purple hair blew in the wind, making her seem like a purple fairy. Zhao Feng also had purple hair, but was shiny and even prettier than Jilan's. Jilan was slightly unhappy. Not only was this youth handsome, but he also had purple hair like her. In fact, he was even prettier than her. Purple star eyes. Jilan's eyes glittered with a dreamy purple light. They were like purple stars in the sky as a surge of powerful soul-eye bloodline power shot toward Zhao Feng. In that instant, millions of burning purple stars appeared in Zhao Feng's and Nan Gongsheng's soul dimensions, and they started to shake. If it was a normal king, they would probably fall into the abyss of soul-eye bloodline techniques, lose control of their intent, and be injured. And then, Chao Yun and company could use this chance to attack. However, there was a big difference between imagination and reality. The youth in black and the purple-haired youth stood proudly and weren't affected at all. Nan Gongsheng's eyes flashed as he circulated his king intent to block the soul-eye bloodline technique that contained the Tao of illusions. As for Zhao Feng, he just stood there expressionlessly like a puppet, not reacting at all. How is this possible? The purple-haired girl, Jilan, couldn't help but exclaim. Nan Gongsheng was a domain-level king, so she wasn't surprised that he wasn't affected. Furthermore, Jilan's main target was Zhao Feng. The purple-haired youth was like a dead ocean, and the soul dimension attack didn't move at all. Oomph! A layer of purple light suddenly appeared in the dazed Zhao Feng's left eye, and a surge of extremely condensed purple lightning shot out of it. The purple lightning was surrounded by wisps of purple starlight. It belonged to Jilan's soul-eye bloodline power. Boom! Jilan's body shook, and her face paled as she stared at Zhao Feng's left eye in shock. Your eye bloodline! In that instant, her eye bloodline shuddered. Both her soul and her eye had suffered significant damage and backlash. It was hard to imagine. What level had that youth's mastery of the Tao of the soul reached? He was able to reverse Jilan's attack like Tai Chi furthermore. There was an immortal and undying aura within Zhao Feng's attack that countered all living beings. It made it hard for her to breathe. Jilan, what's wrong? The expressions of Chao Yun and company changed dramatically as they were stunned. Jilan's purple star eyes had always been successful, and even some of the geniuses on the imperial ranking were wary of it. However, at this moment, Jilan's face was pale white, and her body was trembling. One could imagine how badly she had lost. That brat's eye bloodline is too terrifying. Just the backlash from his eye bloodline made Jilon lose so badly. This brat's hair and eyes are also purple, and he also specializes in the soul. Could he be related to the Ji family? The geniuses and elites of the two aristocratic families were stunned. At this moment, even Chao Yun, a domain-level king, didn't dare to make a move. Between Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng, one had an unfathomable soul-elemental eye bloodline, and the other was a domain-level king. Let's go. Zhao Feng coldly scanned over everyone before disappearing with Nan Gongsheng. In the next instant, a flash of silver brought the two over everyone's heads and toward the ruins of the ancient city. Chao Yun and the other elites had ugly expressions. These two people were not just arrogant and domineering. They directly flew over the heads of the crowd. However, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng's unfathomable strength made no one dare to make a move. They seemed to want to take advantage of the ruins of the ancient city. Over at the ruins, the Duanmu clan Zhao Yufei is invincible. I'm afraid the two of them won't be enough. Chapter 807. Chao Yun and company watched as Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng flew toward the ancient city ruins. The geniuses of the top families of the Great Gan Lore dynasty were gathered in the ancient city ruins. Jilon, are you okay? Chao Yun looked at the purple-haired girl next to him with concern. Jilan's body was still trembling, and her face was pale white as if her soul had left her body. It was as if she still hadn't recovered from the fright just now. The geniuses and elites didn't understand. Being the daughter of one of the 8 big families, Jilon had a noble identity and was proud. Adding on her unique eye bloodline, she could be said to be a prodigy of the heavens. It wasn't that Jilon had never met a match in her generation, but no one had ever seen her suffer such a shock. His eye bloodline is the scariest I've ever seen in my life, Jilon said with lingering fear. Hearing that, the hearts of the geniuses shook. This was because the Ji family was famous for their eye bloodline, and some famous eye bloodlines had appeared in their family. Although the Ji family's eye bloodline wasn't the strongest in the continent, Jilon had interacted with many top-tier eye bloodlines. No matter how strong they are, they can't be compared to the Eye of Samsara or the Eye of Death, the descendants of God eyes that have appeared in the legends. A youth of the half-step king said, in the past 1,000 years, some descendants of the 8 great God eyes had appeared in the Lord dynasties. This wasn't a big secret among the upper echelon of the peak forces. I've seen the descendants of the God eyes before, but the pressure is left I gives my purple star eyes is even more unique. It's as if it's unique, and no other I can compare. The Ji family started to think. At this moment, her purple star eyes still hadn't recovered from the fear. They were both soul type, but the difference was like the difference between the clouds and the mud. Ha ha ha, Jilon, you're thinking too much. Could that guy's eye bloodline be one of the God eyes? Chao Yun shook his head and smiled. Everyone else laughed and didn't put it to heart. Whoosh, whoosh. On the other side, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng landed on the edge of the ancient city in a flash of silver. Zhao Feng's left eye had returned to its normal color, but his hair was still purple. Coupled with his handsome face, he was extremely attractive to the opposite sex. From there, Zhao Feng scanned the surroundings with his left eye. The ancient city ruins before them covered a huge area comparable to the underground world. Zhao Feng could vaguely guess that this was once a prosperous trading city in the divine illusion dimension. Many races came here to trade. Skeletons of various races could be seen in the city, as well as the architectural styles of different races. Later on, no one knew what kind of calamity befell the city, but all the living beings in the city died out in a short period of time, turning it into a wasteland. As soon as the two of them reached the edge of the ruined city, they could feel the intense vibrations of heaven and earth yuan qi, as well as the collisions of Zhen yuan and mighty forces. The battles and fights in the ruined city were exceptionally intense. It turns out that even though all the living beings in the ancient city died in that unknown calamity, Many precious treasures were still preserved. Zhao Feng understood the reason. This was the conclusion that his god's spiritual eye came to after analyzing the situation. In reality, there were indeed many ancient treasures dug out from the ruined city. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Behind them, Chao Yun, Ji Lan, and the other experts of the families returned to the ruined city to fight for the other treasures. It seems like we're late. Nan Gongsheng was slightly excited. In this chaotic situation, his spatial talents were more suitable for taking advantage of the situation. The two of them looked at each other and didn't hesitate anymore as they entered the ruined city. After flying for a couple dozen miles, they saw several dozen geniuses fighting in front of them. There were disciples of the big families and geniuses of the clans. Fuck off. Our 8-star tower found the ancient starstone first. That's not true. The ancient starstone is a peerless material used to forge heaven-grade weapons. It's already extinct in the continent, and it's what the Grand Elder of the Jiang family needs. Both sides had Void God Realm kings participating. Some of the half-step Void God Realms could use their bloodline or techniques to unleash battle power comparable to a king. There were also experts of other forces watching from the shadows. Whoosh, whoosh. Just at this moment, a layer of mysterious silver light flashed across the sky above the battle between the two sides. Who's there? Both parties were slightly startled. One of the two newcomers was a domain-level king who seemed to specialize in spatial techniques. It's just some ores. A purple-haired youth in the profound silver light said calmly. Between Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng, the former had the sky-locking bow, while the latter had the Chinquan sword. They weren't very interested in normal weapons and blacksmithing materials. Although the ancient starstone was valuable, it wasn't enough for the two of them to pay the price. Whoosh! Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng passed through the two groups of people. Arg, my jellyfish essence. One of them, a beautiful blue-haired girl, exclaimed in a low voice, her face flushed red. Boom! Shwa! She couldn't fight back at all under the cover of a powerful physical force and a spatial technique, and the jellyfish essence that she had just obtained was taken away. How dare those two steal the treasure of the number one beauty of the Jiang family? Jiang Feishua. The nearby elites watching from the shadows couldn't help but be surprised. Many precious ores had been excavated in this area, and the ancient starstone was the most valuable. The geniuses and elites of the Jiang family and 8-star tower were fighting over it. However, two dumb geniuses charged in and tried to steal the number one beauty of the Jiang family. Sister Feishua, we'll take revenge for you after we get the ancient starstone. A black-robed king youth from the Jiang family coldly looked in the direction that Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng had disappeared in. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng sped toward the depths of the ruined city. Not bad. This jellyfish essence can make up for the lack of the wind lightning crystal core. Zhao Feng had a smile on his face. Soon, the duo met another group of close to 100 elites. They seemed to be from a certain family. Ha! There are 2 damaged heaven-grade weapons here, and they're relatively complete. A purple and golden-robed youth roared with laughter. This youth had the cultivation of a half-step king, and there was a wrinkled elder next to him. He was a domain-level king. 13th prince, apart from heaven-grade weapons, there's also a sealed dark green bamboo. There's a damaged soft armor here that even an earth-grade weapon can't break. Some of the nearby geniuses and older elites found something. These people were all led by the purple and golden-robed 13th prince. The surrounding forces could only watch from the shadows and didn't dare to fight over it in the open. Whoosh! Whoosh! Right at this moment, a layer of silver light floated over from the air. Domain-level king of the spatial element. The wrinkled elder's expression changed slightly as he revealed a wary expression. Who are you from? We are from the Great Gan Imperial family. Hurry up and leave. One of the half-step kings roared. Shwa! The layer of silver light didn't retreat. Instead, it flashed into the crowd. Boom! Some of the Imperial's geniuses in the crowd felt a mountain-like pressure and many of them spat out blood. "Bastard! Stop!" The wrinkled old man let out a loud roar and turned into a yellow streak of light that charged toward the two of them. Nan Gongsheng snickered coldly as he punched backward, and a silver and purple light intertwined. Boom! The two magnificent powers and the spatial domain instantly clashed in the air, and the shock waves from the collision either killed or injured the nearby Imperial elites. Old bastard! Everyone who sees the resources in the divine illusion dimension gets a share. In the space domain, a purple-haired youth punched out. The powerful force of the physical force fist surged with a layer of scarlet burning flames, covering the wrinkled old man's head. Bam! The wrinkled old man was forcefully pushed back. He was both shocked and angry, but he couldn't go all out or else he would injure even more of his own people. Not only did he not gain the upper hand in the clash just now, he even suffered some losses. Whoosh! Amidst the chaos, the layer of mysterious silver light lingered for a few breaths of time before flying away. Your Highness, not good. That wood elemental treasure, the boundless azure wood, was taken by those two. The few pieces of void crystal, or that I just dug up, were also taken away. The Imperials panicked. How dare you? Which bastard dares to offend the Imperials? The purple and golden-robed youth was enraged. Sacred Emperor's sword. The 13th prince roared as a dazzling golden sword appeared in his hand. Dragon-shaped sword aura surrounded it, and the aura of an emperor made every living being in the ruins of the ancient city shake. Your Highness, please stop. The wrinkled elder's expression changed as he tried to stop the 13th prince. This sacred emperor's sword can't be used so easily. Furthermore, this isn't the territory of the Great Gone Lord Dynasty. How can I forgive you for stealing the Imperial's resources? The 13th prince was enraged. The wrinkled elder had a bitter smile as he tried to stop the 13th prince. The divine illusion dimension was filled with geniuses and elites from countless forces around the continent zone. It was hard for the Great Gone Imperials to monopolize it. Furthermore, those two had only taken a portion of the resources that they had dug up. If they sent people to chase after them or fight them, they would lose the bigger picture. If they weren't careful, other forces might try to take advantage of them. Whoosh! The layer of silver light headed toward the depths of the ruins. Hee, this boundless azure wood is a precious wood elemental treasure. It'll be very helpful for me to form my second 5 elemental wind lightning, the wood of wind lightning. Zhao Feng smiled lightly. Next, the layer of silver light that the two were on used lightning-fast methods to steal treasures from a few groups. However, the forces that did this didn't have any Void God Realm Kings. They only had half-step kings whose battle power was comparable to the Void God Realm, so their gains weren't as great. Zhao Feng, will our actions anger the geniuses of the Lord Dynasties? Nan Gongsheng said uneasily. In just 4 hours, the two had stolen from 4 or 5 groups. We'll leave once we're done. Normal kings won't even be able to get close with the two of us teaming up, Zhao Feng said. The combination of him and Nan Gongsheng was very strong. The two discussed and decided to steal from a few more forces. There was nothing they could do. They had come late, so they could only steal some resources like this. Right at this moment, boom, whoosh, a powerful surge of true yuan and intent appeared in the depths of the ruins, and it surprised Nan Gongsheng. In the air above a tattered palace. Miss Yufei, I'm impressed by your strength. However, the Duanmu family's strength alone won't be able to fight against us. A tall, bald man in a black battle robe said indifferently. There were 3 other Void God Realm Kings on his side, and they were fighting against a beautiful female in purple. Chapter 808. At this moment in time, in the air above the tattered palace, for surges of magnificent power condensed into one and merged into the spatial domain of the bald-headed male. Wang, the bald-headed male, and the other 3 kings were surrounded by a domain that was as dark as a demonic abyss. This spatial domain had almost materialized, and its color became darker and darker until it was as black as ink. The combined battle power of the four kings was enough to injure some peak-tier kings. This was especially so for the bald-headed male. He was an elite of the older generation, and his battle power was comparable to a peak-tier king. Miss Yufei, I'm impressed by your strength. However, the Duamu family's strength alone won't be able to fight back against us. The bald man in the ink-black battle robe closed in step by step. However, facing the combined pressure of the four kings, the expression of the female in purple didn't change. Her snow-white skin started to glitter with a crystalline purple light. Looking over, it didn't seem to be a normal being made of flesh and blood. Instead, it was a lifelike and noble ice jade goddess. A spatial domain that hasn't materialized is useless against me. The female in purple smiled faintly. She and the green-robed elder behind her seemed to be in an invisible whirlpool, and the combined pressure from the four kings was like a stone sinking into the ocean. How did you do this? Unless they have a small world, how can they resist my space domain, which is infused with the power of four great kings? The bald man in the black battle robe paled slightly. Before this, he had fought with Zhao Yufei from the Duanmu family, and he hadn't been able to gain the upper hand. In fact, he had even been at a disadvantage. Now that they were teaming up, they still weren't able to gain the upper hand. Jiu Wuji, you're indeed one of the top domain-level kings, but you're not enough against the most talented genius in the history of the Duanmu family. The green-robed elder from the Duanmu family said confidently. It was as if he was even more confident than Zhao Yufei. The most talented genius in the history of the Duanmu family? Could it be that the rumors are true? Does that Zhao Yufei really have the bloodline of the spiritual race, which is ranked 19th among the 10,000 ancient races? The bald-headed male, Jiu Wuji, and the other three kings were in disbelief. The families and forces behind Jiu Wuji and the other kings were all shocked. As a senior elite, Jiu Wuji's battle prowess is at least on par with the top 30 geniuses on the imperial ranking, but the current situation. Jiu Wuji and the other four kings fought against Zhao Yufei and the green-robed elder. Although it looked like it was 4 against 2, only Zhao Yufei was fighting. I don't believe it. Split up and attack. Jiu Wuji snickered coldly as the spatial domain around him suddenly shrank. Whoosh! His figure flickered, and he charged toward Zhao Yufei and the green-robed old man with the other three monarchs. Go! Zhao Yufei let out a delicate shout. She spread her lily-white hand, and a crystal-like purple flame-light ray transformed into an invisible ring-shaped impact shield. It swept in all directions. Bang! Bang! Before the other three monarchs could even get close, they were sent flying by a powerful force, and one of them coughed out blood. Break! Only Jiu Wuji's black battle robes fluttered as he closed in. A dark pillar of wind howled from his palm and pierced through the barrier. The forces behind the four kings couldn't help but cheer at this level of battle power. Boom! Some of the remaining power of the dark and sharp whirlwind beam hit Zhao Yufei. The latter's delicate body slightly shook, but the surface of her body was sparkling, and she was not damaged at all. What kind of body is this? Jiu Wuji's expression changed dramatically. Bam! Zhao Yufei and the green-robed elder used this chance to counterattack and sent Jiu Wuji flying. Jiu Wuji was within a mysterious force field that blocked their attacks. He barely managed to stabilize himself, but his blood started to boil. Even though he was someone who was unparalleled against those below the Emperor realm, his battle power was still unmatched. Zhao Yufei and the green-robed elder revealed solemn expressions. This Jiu Wuji came from a peak 3-star superpower, and he wasn't even 100 years old yet, but his battle power was unrivaled against those below the Emperor realm. Zhao Yufei, I'll take a step back. We'll split the resources around the corpse 50-50. Jiu Wuji's eyes were cold as he suppressed the frustration in his heart. He still had some powerful trump cards and secret techniques, but he was still in the early stages of connecting to the divine illusion dimension, so he needed to conserve some energy. The two sides were fighting over the treasures around the corpse, only to see there was a complete, non-human skeleton under the tattered building. It had been there for who knows how many years, and it glowed with a golden light, as if it was a metallic Yao sovereign. Within a mile or two of this non-human skeleton, there were treasures that could make emperors and even sacred lords go red. Firstly, they were pieces of divine crystals that emitted extremely powerful origin energy pressure. These divine crystals were mostly substandard divine crystals of good quality. They were almost priceless in the world. There were dozens of god crystals in this area. Apart from that, there were 2 heaven-grade weapons and 1 inheritance sacred weapon that radiated an invisible aura that made normal kings unable to get close. Weapons were split into mortal, spiritual, earth, and heaven. Heaven-grade weapons were the strongest weapons in the world, and only mystic light realm sacred lords could unleash their true power. Inheritance sacred weapons were usually heaven-grade weapons, and even the weakest ones were close to it. Inheritance sacred weapons would lower the cultivation of the owner, but they would have other requirements. Some inheritance sacred weapons even contained information about inheritances. In addition to divine crystals, heaven-grade divine weapons, and inheritance artifacts, there were also some top-notch tools and precious materials scattered around the area near the skeleton, including storage gourds and even spirit fruits, spirit pills, and saint medicines that were sealed by special means. The strength of the owner of this corpse might have reached the level of a demigod when he was alive. He was at least stronger than normal sacred lords. Even if we can only obtain 1/10 or even 1/100th of the items left behind by a powerful sacred lord or demigod, it would be enough. The geniuses and elites of the nearby families and forces all felt their hearts beat faster. However, in this ruined city, the Duanmu family was the most powerful family. Luckily, there were experts like Jiu Wuji, who had reorganized a few families and sects to fight against Zhao Yufei. 50-50? This corpse was just discovered by the Duanmu family. Zhao Yufei's eyes were cold. Zhao Yufei, if we really fight, there are more mid-tier half-step kings and peak Great Origin Core realms behind us. If you insist on doing this, you might be able to survive, but the geniuses and elites of the Duanmu family. Jiu Wuji said cunningly. Zhao Yufei's side had the advantage in terms of high-end experts. However, there were 3 to 4 times the number of mid-tier experts behind Jiu Wuji and company compared to the Duanmu family. One had to know. Some of the half-step kings that entered the divine illusion dimension had battle power comparable to kings. Then let's try. Zhao Yufei had a fearless look on her face. The green-robed elder next to her also had a faint smile and didn't panic at all. Whoosh! Just at this moment, a layer of mysterious silver light approached them. There seems to be a familiar and powerful aura ahead. Zhao Feng murmured within the silver light. That's right. It's somewhat familiar. Nan Gongsheng nodded his head and said. The two soon approached the outer edges of the palace. Even though it was just the outer edges, there were still some experts and forces watching from the shadows. The inner area was where the 4 kings, including Jiu Wuji, were. The overall strength of these forces far surpassed the 10,000 sacred clan that Zhao Feng was from. Before they even got close, Zhao Feng could hear heaven-grade weapons and god crystals. Pung! Boom! At this moment, the battle in the air above the palace started once more. There was a total of 6 kings in the air above the golden skeleton, and they started to engage in a shocking battle. Of the 6 kings, the elegant and transcendent celestial maiden in a violet dress stood out the most. Every time she attacked, her true yuan was as beautiful as crystal, and she easily sent the nearby void god realm kings flying. As for the half-step kings, they weren't even able to get close. Wah! Apart from Jiu Wuji, the other void god realm kings were all injured. That Zhao Yufei is only at the middle stages of the void god realm, and is close to the late stages, but her true yuan is so strong and dense. Even if we use numbers, it'll be useless against so many kings. Jiu Wuji's expression kept on changing. At the moment, he didn't dare to use numbers yet because Zhao Yufei and the green-robed elder weren't scared at all. Zhou Wuji guessed that Zhao Yufei most likely had a little world that contained many powerful trump cards and secret techniques that she hadn't used yet. Whoosh! A layer of silver light approached the forces of Zhou Wuji and the other four kings. Yufei! Zhao Feng muttered to himself as he gazed at the woman. She was no longer the slender and elegant girl of the past. She had grown into a truly peerless beauty, one that could topple a nation. Zhao Yufei. Nan Gongsheng was surprised. Back in the true martial sacred land, Nan Gongsheng had fought with Zhao Yufei, and he knew how terrifying she was. Zhao Feng, what do you plan to do? Nan Gongsheng looked at Zhao Feng with a weird gaze. The battle between the six kings became more and more intense. The half-step kings behind Zhou Wuji and the other four kings started to attack from afar. Who's there? The forces behind the four kings sensed Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng approaching. Plunder. Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he passed through Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain and entered the forces behind the four kings. The valuable treasures and precious materials that were scattered around the skeleton would be more valuable as they went from the outside to inside. Even within a 10-mile radius, there were some rare treasures. Most of the treasures in the outer regions were controlled and excavated by the forces behind the four kings. Arg, my interspatial ring. Stop. The star darkness meteorite I had just dug up. Who's there? Who dares to steal resources from Nine Darkness Palace? The forces behind Zhou Wuji were in chaos, and roars of anger and shock sounded. Whoosh, whoosh. However, that streak of mysterious silver light either overlapped or escaped into the void. It was as if there was no one in the crowd. Those below the half-step king level couldn't even touch it. Moreover, every time the mysterious silver void descended, it would carry with it a strange and evil spatial energy and a mountain-like pressure. Some of the half-step kings couldn't even fight back when they were robbed. Who's there? Zhou Wuji and company couldn't help but look over with enraged gazes. Zhao Yufei's eyes spun as she exclaimed, "It's him, Nan Gongsheng?" Chapter 809. Where did those two guys come from? They even dared to steal from people from Nine Darkness Palace. Spatial bloodline. Body strengthening. What a powerful combination. There were still some forces and experts around the golden skeleton. Their eyes widened when they saw this. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The layer of silver light contained a spatial domain, and it flashed around unpredictably. Every time it flashed, the two within the silver light would steal some treasures. Their movements were extremely fast, as if they were very experienced. Who dares to make a move against my Nine Nether Palace? Zhou Wuji, who was wearing a black battle robe, couldn't help but exclaim as he looked behind him with a cold gaze. Every time the layer of silver light attacked, one could see a youth in black clothes and a handsome youth with purple hair. The youth in black clothes was a space elemental domain-level king. Adding on the fact that there was another body cultivator, they were like tigers that had grown wings. Even those from the Duanmu family were shocked. Yufei, do you know those two? The green-robed elder asked curiously. Zhao Yufei also noticed the actions of the black-clothed and purple-haired duo, and her expression became weird. It's an old friend. Maybe Nan Gongsheng's trying to help us. Zhao Yufei smiled. Seeing this, she stopped focusing on defense and started to counterattack, putting more pressure on Zhou Wuji and the other four kings. Ha 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 ha. That's good. The green-robed elder wanted this to happen, so he increased his offense as well. Instantly, Zhou Wuji and the other four kings were instantly counterattacked by the green-robed elder and Zhao Yufei. Apart from Zhou Wuji, the other four kings were all injured. Whoosh, whoosh. The mystic silver light that the two were on quickly flashed past Nine Darkness Palace's team and went to plunder the teams of the other forces. Which bastard dares to attack the Sher family? One of the four kings couldn't help but roar angrily. The Sher family was also one of the 8 big families. The spectating forces and experts were dumbfounded. The black-clothed and purple-haired duo had plundered the Nine Nether Palace, and now they had turned to plunder the other forces. The forces behind these teams were at least 3 stars, and some are even at the peak of 3 stars. This is insane. The Nine Nether Palace, the Sher family, the Dong family, and Duke Yuan's estate were all plundered by these two. The experts from the surrounding forces were shocked by the two's actions. Nine Nether Palace, a peak 3-star sect. The Sher clan and the Dong clan were both part of the 8 great super clans, which were more powerful than ordinary 3-star sections. Duke Yuan's residence was the ruling structure of a province in the Great Gan dynasty. It was a level higher than the Duke's residence in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. In the Great Qian dynasty, every province was equivalent to its Songhai. An ordinary 2- or 3-star sect wouldn't have the guts to attack the teams of 4 superpowers at the same time. Thankfully, the black-clothed, purple-haired duo only robbed and did not kill. The target of the plunder was powerless to resist. Doing this didn't go against the rules of the divine illusion dimension. This was because the geniuses and elites that entered the divine illusion dimension competed against each other. Not bad, not bad. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongxing's wealth became more and more as they robbed. In just half the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the two of them had already plundered more precious materials and treasures than before. Thieves, once we're free, will tear you into 10,000 pieces. The lungs of Jiu Wuji and company were about to explode from anger. Right now, the biggest profit was the resources around the Golden Bones. The treasures that Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng had taken couldn't even be compared to these. Furthermore, they only robbed and didn't kill. Jiu Wuji, if this continues, the 4 forces will lose all face. The young king from Duke Yuan's residence said angrily, "No matter how many there are, we'll split the treasures first before dealing with those 2 thieves." Jiu Wuji couldn't take it anymore. At this moment in time, the 4 forces behind them were chasing after the black-clothed, purple-haired duo, but they were being played. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Jiu Wuji and company stopped fighting with Zhao Yufei and charged toward the treasures around the Golden Bones. Heaven-grade weapon, inheritance sacred weapon, god crystals, spiritual fruits, and sacred pills. These treasures were the core of the fight. Otherwise, Jiu Wuji and company would have charged over and killed the black-clothed, purple-haired duo already. It won't be that easy. Zhao Yufei smiled as she turned into a purple streak of light and charged downward. Boom, 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 boom. Zhao Yufei's charge instantly scattered Jiu Wuji and company. Demonic Sky Hand. Jiu Wuji stood proudly in the air as one of his arms started to burn and expand into a giant black hand. The enormous demonic hand of the heavens exuded a majestic demonic energy, and it stirred up roiling black clouds and flames. As it moved, it seemed as if the heavens and the earth would rend apart, and it seemed as if it could crush everything in its path. At this moment in time, Jiu Wuji's battle power rose to a whole new level, and he fought against Zhao Yufei for the treasures around the Golden Bones. Don't even think about it. A layer of crystal-like purple light appeared on Zhao Yufei's skin, and the strength of her true yuan and explosive power rose to a whole new level. Boom! The battle between a male and female, an older expert and a younger genius, made the other kings retreat. Whoosh! 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 Some of the treasures around the Golden Bones were swept into the air. Take the treasures. Many forces charged forward, and the half-step kings whose battle power was close to that of a king joined the fight. A few kings that had been watching for a long time also joined in. However, the treasures, such as heaven-grade weapons, inheritance sacred weapons, and god crystals, weren't simple. Heaven-grade weapons would have a strong backlash if they were attacked by an external force. The god crystals themselves also gave off a powerful pressure that made it hard for anyone below the king level to approach. In fact, even though the owner of the golden skeleton had died, the skeleton was still emitting an inviolable might. Several sharp beams of golden light shot out from the golden bones, forcing back several kings and half-step kings. A bloody gash was left behind on one of the Void God Realm kings. Another half-step king, whose battle power was comparable to a king, was almost sliced in two by one of the beams of golden light. Watch out! That golden skeleton was an expert that cultivated the Tao of metal when it was alive. The half-step kings exclaimed. The Tao of metal was one of the 5 elements, and its attacks were extremely sharp. In terms of single-target attacks, they were even stronger than the Tao of fire and the Tao of lightning. This is our chance. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng looked at each other. The situation had become chaotic. Many precious treasures in the vicinity of the golden skeleton were blasted into the air, and there were even all sorts of backlash, causing people to be thrown off their feet and dust to rise into the air. Whoosh! The layer of silver light quickly moved to the vicinity of the golden skeleton. Wang Peng. Even Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain was affected by the shock waves of the battle. The two of them had entered the core area, so the backlash was very strong. They would also be affected by the shock waves from the battle between Zhao Yufei and Zhou Wuji. However, from the looks of it, Zhao Yufei was still suppressing Zhou Wuji and company. In terms of the number of treasures they had obtained, Zhao Yufei surpassed Zhou Wuji and company. Substandard God Crystals. Nan Gongsheng successfully took out a few substandard God Crystals with a streak of silver light. He was much more relaxed than the others. So, Nan Gongsheng's spatial domain contained the core of the evil God Crystal, which could suppress normal substandard God Crystals. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng split up for now. His target wasn't the substandard God Crystals. He aimed at the golden skeleton. This skeleton contained an extremely pure metal elemental power and intent. It should have been a non-human with the element of metal when it was alive. My 5 elemental wind lightning will be followed up by the metal of wind lightning. Zhao Feng thought. Ice Imperial Armor. He circulated his ice-water bloodline, and a layer of ice-blue liquid covered his body, forming a dark blue armor. With the protection of the Ice Imperial Spear, Zhao Feng's defense increased dramatically. Adding on the fact that his golden Kuan sacred lightning body's defense was strong enough to block attacks from kings. Whoosh! Water and lightning rippled on the surface of the Ice Imperial Armor, and it contained the power of a backlash. Anyone that tried to attack or get close to Zhao Feng would be attacked by ice and lightning. Zhao Yufei, who was in the middle of an intense battle, felt a familiar aura and glanced toward Zhao Feng's Ice Imperial Armor and water of wind lightning. However, the purple-haired youth wasn't that person in the depths of her heart. They were only similar in terms of bloodline and techniques. Open. After his defense increased dramatically, Zhao Feng circulated the power of his physical body, and a layer of blood-red flames burned on his fist. With a pong, he pushed away the shock waves and backlash. Even some half-step kings and Void God Realm kings were temporarily pushed away by Zhao Feng. In this process, Zhao Feng also took out 2 or 3 substandard God Crystals. Finally, he approached the golden skeleton. The skeleton emitted a powerful pressure, and it could even launch a backlash of metal path attacks. Go! A golden earth-grade chain appeared in Zhao Feng's hand, and with the support of his physical body, it wrapped around the golden skeleton. Whoosh! 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 Ding! Ding! Zhao Feng and the people nearby were all attacked by the golden skeleton. Watch out! Dodge! The nearby half-step kings and Void God Realm kings dodged in a ruffled manner. However, Zhao Feng seemed to have predicted this and dodged most of the Metal Dao backlash. This golden skeleton just relies on the intent contained in its body to communicate with the metal Yuan Qi in the outside world. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye could see everything. His soul, intent, and cultivation weren't simple, and the pressure from the golden skeleton wasn't able to suppress him. Crack! The instant the golden chain was about to break, the golden skeleton was dragged into Zhao Feng's ancient metal ring. At the last moment, the little thieving cat used its shadow escape technique to absorb the golden skeleton. That thief stole the golden skeleton of the outsider tribes, almighty. The nearby half-step kings and void god realm kings were stunned when they felt the pressure decrease. Even a void god realm king wouldn't be able to absorb the golden skeleton so easily. Don't let those two brats get away. One of Zhou Wuji's 4 kings said angrily. Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng both obtain a lot. The former obtained the golden skeleton and some items from the corpse. Nan Gongsheng obtained the most god crystals, taking up half of the loot. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.